Welcome back to episode 216 of the Hockey Cards Gongshow podcast. My name is Josh. I'm here with Troy. I'm here with Phil. I'm here with the one, the only Baba Louie.
It's a Gongshow Super Show.
All right, boys. How's it going? Phil or Troy, we're going to start with you.
It's going. It's early. We complain about recording late. Now I'm recording early, and I have to go to a Twins game. That's why we're doing this.
Yes, and it's about, 91 degrees and 1,100 million% humidity today, so it's going to be awesome, huh?
It's going to be ridiculous. Can't wait.
Yeah, well, there you go. Anything else going on this weekend for you, Troy, before we move on?
No, not a lot of stuff going on.
Bill?
Hello.
Bill. Now,
Yes.
Phil's a morning guy, so you're going to bring the heat to the show today.
Lucky everybody. Yeah.
Phil's energy is at 11 right
Yeah.
now, so that's a good thing, though. We love that. So, how's your weekend been, Phil? What you been up to?
Not much. Super good weekend though. Finished Shogun last night. Very happy. I finished that show. I was big fan. It's like a Game of Thrones, but in Japan. It was pretty good. Yeah. Lots of fun. Was up early. Drove Hasselhoff to work. Fed the pets. That's about it. Yeah.
Okay. All right, Baba Louie.
Hey, I'm glad you're keeping the pets fed there,
Yeah.
Philly.
Yeah, they didn't eat since Friday, so I thought it'd be good to feed them today.
Jeez.
Not a lot this weekend. Well, my parents are up from Florida, so I visited them yesterday, and big F1 day today. The summer break is over, so it's back on.
Where's the race?
Netherlands this weekend.
Okay, the
My
Netherlands.
answer for the races is Monaco every time.
Monaco.
Anyone remember that game? Genesis.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Do they?
I think I want to go to Monaco.
Do they drive in the streets, Louis? Is that or do they have like tracks? Is that F1?
Both. Both. There's
Okay.
dedicated tracks, and then there are street courses.
How many tracks are dedicated to F1 in the world? Like 50?
Right now, whether they use all of them or not, because of the contracts, there's 26 races, 7. I'd have to look it up. There's a lot, but
Do you think that hockey is big in Monaco? Like, could we find some sort of sponsor to, like, coming to you live from Monaco, the Hockey Cards Gongshow podcast? That'd be like a thing, right? No?
I highly doubt it. They're too busy on their yachts.
Hockey yacht. Yeah, there we go. Ooh, Gongshow yacht. That would be sweet.
I'm a great swimmer. That's a fantastic idea.
As long as we don't go to where that water spout hit that billionaire's yacht, stay away from there.
We'll have to check the budget, Troy, for a yacht. I doubt it's going to happen, though. A crazy weekend for me in my household. A lot of stuff going on. Good stuff, exciting stuff, sad stuff. Today's the last day of my son living at home before he goes to college. So my wife and I will be a puddle of emotions, I'm sure, tomorrow as we move him in. So we spent yesterday doing a family day, and it was kind of interesting to us because we gave him all these options. We're like, well, it's kind of our last hurrah with him living here. Do you want to go to like a fancy dinner? Do you want to go to the state fair? The Minnesota State Fair, Phil, is second biggest in the country.
Nice.
Am I right?
It depends who you want to listen to. Texas, I think, is the biggest because it lasts a month, and ours is 10 days, and we've already set the record for the first 2 days, so ours is going to be massive again.
Is it cozy? Does it have that cozy feel?
No, it is wall to wall people. Like you can't, like if you're claustrophobic around people, never go.
So Troy gets the VIP pass.
No such thing.
No such thing
at the state fair. So we gave him that option. Oh, what were some of the other ones? My friend owns a classic arcade game in St. Paul. So we're like, that's why I was asking Troy, a burger joint. We said we could go there. We could do a movie.
Yeah.
And I thought my wife and I thought this was very telling. He wanted to get takeout from our local Chinese restaurant, Wang's.
Yeah.
It's very good, rated #1 in Minnesota. Shout out to them. And then go bowling. So he kind of wanted to stay at home, which we thought was kind of cute. But then So we're like going out. It's like 8:30, 8:45 at night bowling. And my wife comes down. I'm in here in my office, being a busy bee and working on the show. And she walks in. She's like, I think I want to go to my 30-year reunion tonight. And I'm like, your reunion's tonight? Yes. So she's like, can you like change before we go bowling? Yeah. So we go bowling and the kids come home and we're at a local bar we kind of got there maybe like 10:30.
Oof.
All of her classmates like sloshed. It was, like when you're the sober person and you walk into where everyone's been having fun for a long time. So it was like fantastic people watching, but then got home a lot later than I anticipated. So good thing we have you to bring the heat today, Phil.
Any prospects? Any prospects for Loud Phil in Minnesota? There? Any marriages on the rocks at that reunion?
Oh, sure. You just got to come on down. I'm sure. After 30 years, whose marriage isn't on the rocks? I don't know.
You want to be a Canadian citizen? You know a guy.
50% of them should be on the rocks if we go by the stats.
Well, you weren't on Thursday's show, Phil. We missed you, of course, like we always do. And we talked a lot about kind of, I guess our main topic was, when is it worth overpaying for a card? And Troy and I talked about, it just didn't work out like schedule wise and content wise about saving that topic for you because we thought you would have some good input too. But we got tons of feedback in our Discord, in messages. And so that topic really seemed to hit home, I guess, with some people. But I wanted to I know you listened to it, so I wanted to give you a minute or two, Phil, to see if you had any feedback or comments or anything related to that topic.
I thought it was a great episode. Poor Mark. I felt for him listening to him. I mean, for the lack of a better word, defend his purchase. I never thought we'd live in a world. Well, I mean, breaking. I can say breaking balls is different, right? That's fine. That's your buddy. But people were actually like, "You're an idiot." I was like, "Whoa!" Flag on the play. It's his money. Let's say he is a bit of an idiot. It's his money. He can do what he wants. I don't tell other men to do what they want. Like my neighbor is always pretty broke, but he drives a very fancy BMW. That's his thing, right? I don't know. He looks at me with my cards as silly. So I think Mark did very well, better than most, presenting his case, and it was quite simple. He liked the card. He had an opportunity to get it. That's it. That's all. That's the formula. As someone who is exactly like that, I totally feel for him. I tend to overpay for my cards as well. The problem becomes when you get known for it. And then that's when you're a mark, like that's the not fun part.
Not like actual mark, but like a
exactly,
like a mark, like people mark you as
through the crosshairs.
Someone that overpays.
So you're opening a tin of the cup and you hit a Brady Kachuk and you're like, I'm gonna call Phil and cash this lottery ticket.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I know it's Phil in a bottle there. So it was a great episode. It happens, man. A true collide. That's the crappy part of our hobby, is that hawkish analyzing of a room, who you can get the top dollar from. But on the flip side, it is a business, right? So I mean, if a seller can get a big high price off of a guy like me or Mark, good for him, I guess.
Okay. Well, very good context. Thank you for adding that. One last thing, or I guess a couple last things before we get started. After this episode, guys, we are doing our second after party show for our Patreon supporters. We're going to have a special guest for that too. So when this episode is done, and if you support us, be sure to head to the Gongshow Discord server to watch that episode on YouTube. We'll also post it to the Patreon feed as well. We had a really good response to episode 1 last week of the after party. And if you're wondering, well, how can I support the show? How can I watch the after party episode today? After I finish up with Gongshow 2016 here, you can support us through Patreon and be one of the first 199 supporters of our show to ever hold that title. It's as little as $5 a month. You get exclusive access to our Discord, where there's a great community that chats every day there. It seems like it gets more and more active, which is very fun for us to see. You can watch the after party there as well. It's very easy to support us. You can go to our website, hockeycardsgongshow.com, and click on the Become a Patron link at the top of the page. Or if you want, just go to the Patreon website directly. It's patreon.com and search for Hockey Cards Gongshow. There's a link in the show description if you're listening to us on a podcast app or watching us on YouTube, and then finally in our Instagram and TikTok profile as well. Can't wait to do another one of those after party episodes. We do have one new supporter for our show, the crew from the late game, who we had on a few weeks ago now. It seems like years in our life and building the show, but they become a Gongshow partner. So very, very excited about that. Make sure if you're in the US, you can watch the late game movie right now on Amazon Prime. If you're in Canada, like Phil, on September 10th, they will be streaming in Canada as well. And so we're going to help them do some, promote their movie there, and love hockey entrepreneurs, love content creators. And so we're very, very excited to partner with them. All right, boys.
Put a couple of dumb Minnesotans behind a mic, sprinkle in a crazy Canadian, and it's a Gongshow Super Show.
Troy, let's do the game plan, buddy.
We begin the show with the almost greatest NHL player to wear number 16. Then it's off to our next installment of Hobby Mt. Rushmore, and this time it's the Buffalo Sabres. Next is Hobby News. Then we have a segment that will be a ton of fun. I don't even know what the answers are. I'm angry that I wanted to know everything before the show, but I'll have to play along, I guess, where we look at Hockey Hobby over/underrated. Stay tuned for that. Then it's my favorite segment. What puts the poo in Phil's shoe?
Oh, God.
Can't wait for that. And then we end the show with new product releases, the Gongshow Mailbag, and any personal pickups. Okay, fellas, previously we looked at the greatest NHL player that wore the number that matched our episode number. We ran through all the numbers, so now we are looking at the almost greatest NHL player to wear each number from the runners-up in the Hockey Writers' greatest NHL player to wear each number article. The almost greatest NHL player to wear number 16 for the nominees in the Hockey Writers' greatest NHL player to wear each number, and selected by me, is this beautiful human being, Bobby Clarke, Flyers legend. It's one of the most iconic photos of him. He always has the mouth with 0 teeth in it. It's fantastic. So YouTubers stare at that sweet mug for a while. The other runners up at number 16 were also pretty good. We had Toronto Sports Card Expo attendee and what do you call him? The exhibitor, I guess, Marcel Dion and Trevor Linden. As a reminder, the greatest wear number 16 was Brett Hull. And, I think Bobby Hull's the right choice, but if I had to select the almost NHL player, greatest NHL player to wear number 16 based solely on likability, I would select Marcel Dion because he seems like such a happy guy and so nice at the expo. But Bobby Clarke takes this one for the almost greatest NHL player.
Can I ask Phil a question about this photo?
Yeah.
So Phil, you played. Did you play junior hockey? Did you?
I did one tryout for Junior B, the Perth Blue Wings in Ontario, and I realized that was a bad idea. Yeah.
So you never had the experience of getting your teeth knocked out?
Oh, yes, I do. Yeah. Yeah,
Oh, really?
absolutely. A phone headset right here. This one's nice and fake. When I smile, you can see it's got a bit of a blue to it. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I
just was kind of looking at this photo and wondering what that experience is like. It can't feel good.
No, you know what the worst part of that is? After the shock of realizing what happened and you're losing the disagreement you're in, it's when you breathe in, the nerve. It's when you go, and then that was the pain. That's the fight that's over. There was the nerve hanging there. I'll never forget. Top 3 most painful things I've ever. It's very acute. It was a very acute pain, right? It was the front tooth too. So, yeah.
That's I'm thinking about that when you breathe in the.
Oh, it's horrible.
Like the whistle.
Yeah, it was horrible.
I don't have that. I was a goalie, so I got all my teeth, so that's good. All right, our boy Bobby Clarke, center from Flin Flon, which has to be made up, Manitoba, Canada. It's not.
Has to be made up.
I've heard of Flin Flon. I should have looked up what it actually meant, but that's where our boy. Yeah, that's where our boy's from. Bobby Clarke was selected 17th overall in the second round of the 1969 NHL amateur draft by the Philadelphia Flyers. So I guess good on them. We'll get into why he was kind of where he was drafted when. Clarke played in 1,144 regular season NHL games over a 15-season NHL career. Clarke played his entire entire career with the Philadelphia Flyers. For his awards and accomplishments, we got a lot. Hall of Famer, 2-time Cup winner in 74 and 75, 3-time Hart Trophy winner, 1-time Bill Masterton winner, 1-time Pearson winner, 1-time Selke winner, 2-time NHL First All-Star Team, 2-time NHL Second All-Star Team, 8-time NHL All-Star Game selection, named to the NHL's greatest players to play the game list in 2017, and his number 16 is retired by the Philadelphia Flyers. For his career, 358 goals, 852 assists, 1,210 points. Clarke made the playoffs in 13 of his 15 NHL seasons, compiling 42 goals, 77 assists for 119 points in 136 NHL playoff games played. It's a great picture. YouTubers enjoy. The best regular season of Clarke's NHL career from a point standpoint was the 75-76 season, where Clarke had 30 goals, 89 assists for 119 points in 76 games played with the Flyers. So our boy, Bobby Clarke, recognized as one of the best players, one of the best captains to ever play the game. Clarke had 3 100-point seasons, twice leading the NHL in assists. Clarke is also known for having an overwhelming and fierce desire to win at all costs. He combined high-level skill with high-level antagonism. And I love this little line from his NHL.com top 100 player bio. On one hand, he was a supreme playmaker, a crafty and timely goal scorer. I've never even heard this word. And an indefatigable checker. Virtuoso faceoff specialist, a complete player. On the other hand, he also could be a vicious stickman, a cheap shot artist, and an incorrigible instigator. So I guess he had both aspects. Yeah, he was sometimes not a nice player, not a nice guy on the ice, but absolute legend.
Those are big words for it. Those are big words, Troy.
I know. Hard to pronounce.
Would Matthew Tkachuk be then the closest corollary to him today?
I don't know. Like Clarke would swing sticks. Like he was not. I mean, he's in the Summit Series. He shattered one of the best players for Russia's. When he shattered his leg or his ankle, I mean, he was not afraid to just start swinging. So I don't know. Phil, what do you think? Is he like Tkachuk, or I think he's meaner than Tkachuk? Especially in today's game, we don't have guys like Bobby Clarke anymore.
If Brad Marchand and Matt Cook had a baby, they named it Bobby Clarke.
Well, and they were much better hockey players because they're all poor from none of them are 3-time Hart winners, right?
Yeah.
What was his? I know you were saying he was the complete player, but you hear like Gordie Howe, Mr. Hockey, just hard nosed in the corners, just plowed through everything. Maurice Richard, really fast. Bobby Orr, end to end. Like, was Clarke just good at like 85% of everything? You never hear him.
Good.
You never hear him referenced, right? You never hear him referenced like, oh man, you should have seen Clarke back in the day. He did XYZ. He's not really known for a thing, right? The teeth. That's what he's known for. The hair and the teeth.
He's known for
after his career, and that's what Troy will get into.
Okay.
Well, he's known for holding the cup, winking with no teeth. It's basically that photo is pretty iconic too. But the only photos I could find of it were from TV, and they were kind of grainy. And I couldn't even find a nickname for Bobby Clarke, but Captain Crunch, I guess, might be one if I remember one. But it's like it's like you never hear people say, "Oh, just like Bobby Clarke." Maybe in Philly they think of someone like that, but.
Hey Troy, we got a little. I got to interrupt a little bit. Baba Louie is doing yeoman's work in producer land.
Oh, I didn't see it.
He's got a Flin Flon.
Oh, here we go
for you.
Do I remember it? Okay.
Yeah.
Flin Flon. Is that what it's called? Flin Flon, Canada. Tao's name is taken from the lead character in a 1905 paperback novel, The Sunless City, when Tom Creighton discovered a high-grade exposure of copper. He thought of the book and called it Flin Flon's Mine. And the town that developed around the mine adopted the name. There we go. Don't say you don't learn anything on this show. Screw the hockey. I'm here for the Flin Flon fact. Oh boy, say that. Flin Flon facts. There we go. Okay, back to Clarke. After retiring as a player, Clarke was immediately named the general manager of the Philadelphia Flyers in May of 1984. His first stint as GM of the Flyers lasted 6 years. Clarke would then become the GM of our Minnesota North Stars for 2 seasons. Clarke would then return to Philly as senior vice president for the team, and to help mentor, Eric Lindros, and I just put oops after that. We'll see what happened there. Oh, I don't go into that much, but Clarke then became the GM of the Florida Panthers and would then return to Philly as a GM. They couldn't quit this guy. He would resign from Philly following a poor start to the 06-07 season. Clarke then returned to Philadelphia as a senior vice president again, which I think is what he's doing now. He's probably an advisor / senior vice president, because that's what they all do now. And
Sure.
Bobby Clarke's getting old, so. Okay, our boy. Fun, interesting facts. Clarke wore the number 16 throughout his entire NHL career, except for 2 games during the 1980-81 season. Prior to a road game on February 27th, 1981, Clarke's jersey was stolen. Clarke wore the only other jersey available, number 36, in the next 2 games. I actually knew a guy that worked at the Met Center, and let's just say I think sometimes they did kind of lift jerseys. Keep on, like, that's not right, but I guess young.
Well, there's a very famous basketball card from the 90s where Michael Jordan is wearing, I forget the number now.
He's in like a wrong.
He's in a wrong. It's like number 12 or something like that. And it's because right before the game, his jersey was stolen.
Wow.
And then they took the photograph for that card during that game.
That's fantastic. All right. Bobby Clarke learned that he had type 1 diabetes as a teenager, and NHL teams feared he would be unable to play in the NHL. However, after a trip to the Mayo Clinic in Rochester, Minnesota, doctors concluded he could play professionally as long as he took care of himself. It sounds like a lot of things. However, this diagnosis played a part in Clarke falling into the second round of his draft. Now, I had to look this up because it intrigued me, but in Clarke's draft class, he scored the most points of any player and led the next person, Butch Goring, by 322 points. So he fell to the second round because I guess back then diabetes was a death sentence. I don't know. It's like, are you sure you can play? You have type 1 diabetes. In the advances of medicine. So he played. He did fine. It's all good. For the 1979-80 season, Clarke was named a player assistant coach. In order to become an assistant, he had to give up his captaincy due to NHL rules. So Mel Bridgman was named the captain. His first season as a playing assistant coach saw the Flyers go on an undefeated streak of 35 games, which, per Wikipedia, which we know is the source of truth of everything, is the longest in NHL history and also the longest in North American professional sports history. Maybe go research that. That's what Wikipedia said.
Do you guys think in any sport you'll ever see that again? A player also be part of
I think it's against rule the collective bargaining agreements now that they make. I'm pretty sure that's like a rule now that he can't do that.
Wasn't Chris Kelly in Boston? Chris Kelly, he was a player.
What year was that? Do you know years?
Yeah, I don't know, dude. But I thought something was there. He might have been an injury, so they just threw him behind the bench.
Maybe
something like that.
See, I thought it was. I'm pretty sure. I mean, who knows? But I don't think you'll see that.
Let's talk about his diabetes. I never knew that about Bobby Clarke. Good for him. A newfound respect for that. That is something that you have to deal with personally and quiet alone at night with your own thoughts. And you just good for him, man. I didn't know that. Good job, Troy. Thanks for bringing that up.
All right, Bobby Clarke was no stranger to controversy. I know I've said in the past, I kind of, even though I wasn't there, I wasn't living it, but I've read enough to just seem like I have a little bit of disdain for Clarke and some of the things it seems like he's done in the past. So the couple big ones, it's like, so he had a quote when Roger Nielsen took a medical leave and he was the coach of the Flyers in February 2000 to undergo cancer treatment. And this is what Bobby Clarke said. The Nielsen situation, Roger got cancer. That wasn't our fault. We didn't tell him to go get cancer. It's too bad that he did. We do feel sorry for him. But then he went goofy on us. And it's like, what? Let's not say that. Maybe
that is a bit uncalled for. Maybe inside thoughts should be kept inside, right?
I know. It's just like, and you never know. Like who knows if it was misquoted or the big thing all the time, misquoted. They moved words around. I've had experience with this. Media does it all the time. Media doesn't get a pass. They are sometimes horrendous on what they can manipulate things into coming out like. So we'll just leave that there. Let the listener / viewer make their mind. And then we had the whole Eric Lindros situation. And the more, I did read enough about it over the years. And it's like, it sounds like everyone in that situation was just a mess. You got Lindros, you got Bobby Clarke, you got Lindros's dad. It just seems like it was just a disaster. I know he got on him. Clarke got on Lindros for the concussions, and maybe that's a product of the time where they didn't have the medical evidence they do now, but they were not nice to each other, and I think they mended relationships, maybe, who knows. I'm sure there'll always be some hurt, but yeah, that situation was a disaster too. But that's what I got for Bobby Clarke. He was a fantastic player. He was actually he never won a cup as a GM, but man, he got the North Stars to the cup. I think Florida might have went to the cup the first, or when he was there. I can't remember exactly, but he led some pretty mediocre teams. That North Star team was not an all-star team, I'll tell you that. And they made the cup, so it's kind of interesting. So, all right, our card for Bobby Clarke. We've talked about it many times. It's an iconic card, but I can't stand the spotlight effect, whatever they're trying to go for in the back.
Cotton balls.
Yeah, the cotton balls. It's a 1970 OPG number 195. Bob Clarke. PSA 10 is a Papa 3 with a gem rate of 0.3%. Last sale of a graded copy I could find was a PSA 6 that sold on August 13th of this year via eBay, verified at Terapeak for $225 US. A PSA 8 copy did sell on July 13th of this year for $1,025 US. And I did find a PSA 9 copy that sold via eBay, verified in Terapeak on July 22nd of 2023 for $1,525 US. So there we go. Bobby Clarke, or Bob.
I always just want to color those in. Like if I had a card, I would totally do that.
They bugged me so much. I just would love to know the thought process they were going through.
It's like the chemical composition of 1970.
Oh,
sorry, Billy. Okay, we're ready to move on to Hobby Mt. Rushmore. We're going to tackle the Buffalo Sabres after a one-show hiatus, because we're going to do this once a week now. We're back to nominating the Hobby Mt. Rushmore for every NHL team. We started in the Atlantic Division. Our first team was a very controversial one, because we forgot George Vezina, the Montreal Canadiens. Then we tackled the Stanley Cup champion Florida Panthers. Next, it was a very emotional episode for Phil, the Ottawa Senators.
Went well.
Then on last Monday's show, we decided that the Buffalo Sabres would be next, which will balance us out. So then we'll have 2 American teams, 2 Canadian teams.
We've already almost went through all the Canadian teams, so we got 4 left, right?
Yeah. It's almost like we make thoughtful or strategic decisions around here. But no, who are we kidding? And on the onset, when we got this idea, I thought this would be super fun. Having to put these together, you guys got to know, it's like super stressful. Because here's what I think about the whole time I'm doing this is we know that there's people that listen to this show that have been a diehard Buffalo Sabres fan for the last 30 years.
Who?
I'll stop.
Hey, I gotta say something quick. I think there's 7 NHL teams in Canada, right? Did I screw up and say 6?
Well, you said 2, and then I said 2, and you said we did half.
No, we've done 2 of 7, I think. So there we go. I'm gonna count why we
Baba Louie will figure that out. So my point, Phil, knowing that there are Buffalo Sabres fans that watch the show, is when you haven't lived and breathed a team like this for your whole life, it's a little stressful. Like I end up doing way more research than I ever thought I would, and go through these little panic attacks. And it's never the first 2. Like there's always like 2 guys I'm finding out after doing 4 of these that are like no brainers, right? Then it gets kind of sketchy for a lot of teams after that. So we'll see how I did. Probably not well. The Buffalo Sabres boys were established in 1970. So that's now 54 years of hockey in upstate New York. They've made the playoffs 29 times out of 54 years. I think we would take that as Minnesota fans.
Yeah.
And according to us, the Hockey Cards Gongshow podcast, this is their Hobby Mt. Rushmore. So the first nominee was very easy. Had to go with Dominik Hasek. Hasek played 9 of his 16 seasons with the Sabres. Hasek has the second most games played in franchise history of 491. That's 49 behind Ryan Miller. He is second all-time in wins for a goalie with the Sabres with 234. Ryan Miller has 284. But he's the Sabres all-time leader in goals against with 2.22 and save percentage with 0.926. That's a very healthy save percentage, Troy, over 491 games, huh?
That is crazy stupid. Hasek's career stats just overall in the NHL are kind of ridiculous.
While in Buffalo, Hasek won only 6 Vezina trophies, so I guess that's a knock against him. Ryan Miller and Tom Barrasso are the only 2 other Sabres goalies to win a Vezina, and each did it 1 time. Hasek was also a 2-time William M. Jennings Trophy Award winner, a 2-time Ted Lindsay Award winner, the only Sabre to ever win that award, a 2-time Hart Trophy winner, the only Sabres player to ever win a Hart, 6-time NHL First Team All-Star. He was inducted into the Hockey Hall of Fame in 2014. His number 39 was retired by the Sabres in 2015. He was so good in Buffalo that I think he earned one of the coolest and best nicknames in NHL history, the Dominator.
Mm-hmm.
It's because Phil, his name is Dominic, and it starts just like dominate.
Thanks,
So
Josh. I did have him for a year.
We got to explain things to Phil on this show. Okay, now let's look at Hasek's place in the hobby. He's still one of the biggest goalie chases. I kind of put him in a group. I don't know if you guys think similarly, with like Patrick Waugh, Martin Brodeur, and Hasek are really the 3 modern goalie chases in the hobby. Do you agree or disagree?
Yeah, I almost feel like Hasek is a little more sought after than Brodeur. Brodeur signed so much. Like there's a lot of Brodeur out there.
And Hasek just sits there and complains about like Putin the whole time, doesn't he? Doesn't he like?
Yeah,
he's banned Russia.
They don't play me in the NHL anymore, so
I don't think Twitter has been helpful for Hasek's image.
Is he on there? I've never looked.
Yeah, I'll find it who it was, but he went off on someone.
He goes off the rails a little
like
bit.
Theron Fleury. I love Theron Fleury, but like sometimes, come on, man, it's just a bit. And I don't usually disagree with him, but it's like I'm still working on the inside voice thing too, right?
Mm-hmm. 6,890 Dominik Hasek cards have sold on the secondary market so far in 2024 per Card Ladder sales history, including 29 sales of more than 500 US. The all-time highest selling Dominik Hasek card, and this blows my mind. Blows my mind.
No.
Phil, you're going to be ready to fall out of your chair. I legitimately think you are. This 1991 Upper Deck French Hasek rookie BGS 10 with all 4 subgrades at 10. I don't know if they didn't have like Black Label.
That's not Black Label now?
Back when the slab came out. It was pandemic times. October 2021. This is what it sold for, Phil.
Would you say it?
$11,093 US.
No, that's wrong. That's wrong. Get Grotman on here. That's wrong. There's no way.
Phil, who are you to tell anyone how much to pay?
Yeah. Okay. Anyways, yeah.
Mark Hill bought this card.
Mark Hill. Mark, you're an idiot. No,
Mark's gonna come after me. Where's Kitty Mark? He's on.
This is our show, Phil. Come on.
I'm sorry. That is okay. I have to respect the buyer, but that is wild.
That is wild.
Wild.
Like legitimately, I'm thinking that's like $1,000 card maybe today, like 800 to 1,000. Right?
I think if you saw that for $1,000 at the expo, you definitely have people circle back and think about it. No one's grabbing it quick.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness, they're all French. You can't find an English one.
I have an English one, I think.
Overall thoughts, so guys, do you consider Hasek a no-brainer for the Sabres?
And
Rushmore?
The thing I was thinking about where he was going off on Twitter is when he wants to suspend. He thinks the NHL should suspend all Russian players because of the Ukraine thing.
Well, that's silly.
That's what he was going off on.
That's
recently.
silly. You can't blanket that. Oh.
Yeah, but Hasek definitely is, I believe, on the hobby route.
Strong opinions. Let him have them. Let him have them.
Okay, Dominik Hasek takes the first spot on the Sabres Hobby Mt. Rushmore. Sitting next to him, or perched next to him, carved in stone, is Gilbert Perreault. Troy, the first time we had to say his name on the show, I would love to be able to have like a search where we could go back and play stuff like that. I'm sure it was like Gilbert Perreault. Like,
actually, I think
Aaron.
I knew him. I mean, I knew him. This was one my mom would yell at me if I didn't know who he was or his name.
Gilbert
But,
Perreault.
yeah, I always want to say Gilbert Perreault.
Yeah, that's good. Gilbert Perreault.
Gilbert Perreault.
So Gilbert Perreault is the second Sabres no-brainer, in my opinion, on our Hobby Mt. Rushmore. He played in Buffalo very long time, 1970 through 1987. Nobody's played more games for the Sabres than Gilbert Perreault, who leads the franchise rankings with 1,191 games. He's also the franchise's all-time leader in points with 1,326. Perreault is the all-time franchise leader in goals, 512, then assists at 814. So if you do like a comparison, so the if you look at the current Sabres player with the most goals is Tage Thompson with 129. Right. So the fact that Gilbert Perreault had 512 goals for the franchise kind of shows you really how dominant he is in their all-time leaderboards. And I think I don't know if anyone else has scored 400 goals for the franchise, going back to even all the other great players that they had. His 814 apples is almost double that of Dave Andreychuk's 436, who holds the number 2 spot. Gilbert won the Calder Trophy with Buffalo in 1970. Won the Lady Byng in 1973, only Sabres player to ever win that award. Perreault made the second NHL All-Star team twice. Was elected into the Hockey Hall of Fame in 1990. Buffalo retired as number 11 in 1990 as well. Looking at the hobby quickly for Gilbert Perreault, 1,281 of his cards have sold on the secondary markets year to date. 4 of those sales have been for more than 500 US. All-time high sale. So do you think this sold for more or less than Dominic Hasek?
Lot less.
What do you think? Yeah. The high sale all time for a Gilbert Perreault card is this 1970-71. Here we go again, right? Now this is a little bit more. This is like the sun almost, not quite.
Yeah.
Like the different cotton ball effect there. The PSA 9 sold for $7,200 US dollars in October 2018. Not a huge hobby market for Perreault, but one that I think reflects his era, right? There's not a lot of the hobby market for guys today is way greater than it was for people back in the early 70s and 60s. But the fact that he's undoubtedly the most accomplished skater in franchise history, you got to put him on the Mount Rushmore, in my opinion. What do you guys think?
I didn't know he had more goals than Pat LaFontaine. That's pretty impressive.
We'll talk about Pat. Pat only played 6 years for the team.
Oh, we're not considering him? I always think of him in a Buffalo jersey.
Yeah, we did consider him, but we'll see if he made it or not. Okay, Troy, no problem with Gilbert Perreault?
No problem with him. I was looking. I was trying to remember. Was he in? Well, first I was looking. He's alive still. I should know that.
Yep.
But I was trying to see if he was in SP Signature Edition Legends at all. Phil, I don't know if you remember seeing him. In there.
I would think so. There's 350 cards in that set.
Yeah,
I
believe he's maybe in there, but
if he wasn't, that'd be like, well, that's crazy.
Okay, now it gets a little tougher. So, this next one wasn't super tough.
No.
So, Dave Andreychuk is our third nomination for the Sabres Hobby Mt. Rushmore. Played 837 games for Buffalo, good for 6th all time. His 368 goals with the team ranks 3rd all time. 804 career points in Buffalo, ranks 2nd all time for the franchise. He was the first in franchise history he is first in franchise history with 161 power play goals. That was kind of Andreychuk's sort of calling card in the NHL as a power play goal specialist, really. Now, he would play 11 seasons in Buffalo and I think 24 total. And that's the thing, this is the Sabres Hobby Mt. Rushmore. I know Andreychuk went on to the Lightning, won the Stanley Cup. I believe there's a statue outside the Tampa Bay Stadium of him hoisting the cup. So he'd finish his career with 640 goals and 1,338 total points, but just 368 of those goals were in Buffalo. He was inducted in the Hockey Hall of Fame in 2017. Didn't win a ton of individual awards, I meant to say. But of course, a really good all-around player. 622 Andrechuk cards have sold in the secondary markets year to date. 2 of those sales were for more than 500 US. Highest selling Dave Andrechuk card of all time is this 1984-85 OPG rookie PSA 10, sold for $1,350 last October. Obviously, not a huge hobby market, but we kind of do drop off a little bit of a cliff once you get past Hasek and Perot. So, any thoughts on Dave Andrechuk? Does that one surprise you at all?
I'm telling you, the guys with hard last names to spell are not good for the hobby. No one knows how to spell his last name. They're not punching that in eBay. I thought his PSA 10. I mean, that's crazy. An 84 card as a 10 and only $1,000 bucks. It's wild.
These are the guys you go to that Fat Fingers site and you type them in and see how many cards you can find. Where they
yes, Troy. Yes,
it.
Troy. Yeah, good call. Good call. Good listener. Do what Troy said.
So go there. It's like, what's it? Fat Fingers. I'm gonna say that. You just Google that and you'll find it. Yeah, I agree with Andrechuk. I mean, he scored 50 goals, I think, twice or a couple times for sure.
So after Andrechuk, it got a lot tougher. And I'm going to tell you the guys I didn't pick before the one I did. There's 2 that there's 3 players for one spot that I really struggled with. You could definitely make a case for Ryan Miller, who's another goalie. He's a franchise's all-time leader in games played, 540, all-time leader in wins, 284. His number 30 was retired by the team in 2023. So it's kind of tough to leave him out. And he does have a decent hobby chase, too. Probably more than you would think.
Yeah, no, Josh, absolutely. Sorry, Troy. No, I've met 2 huge Ryan Miller fans at the expo. The guy is I think, I'm sorry if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure he's really liked in Buffalo. Like he is really beloved in Buffalo.
Then, or you have a thought on Miller, Troy?
No, I was just gonna say it's like Ryan Miller. I was curious to hear or interested to hear that the big hobby chase, because in my mind I was like, oh no, he doesn't have any, but you do a lot more research than I do, and he's one of those guys that I feel like probably maybe doesn't get enough recognition for. He was good, he was really good. It's just I don't know, he's kind of those guys that kind of fell into this muddled group of people. And
didn't he have a kerfuffle? Wasn't there an interview out there where he's like he's a piece of junk? He has no place in this league. I think he got trained over or something.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Somebody listening's yelling at the screen that remembers.
Then there were 2 others that I debated. The first one was Phil's Pat LaFontaine, who had an incredible 6-year run with the team, had a huge impact. I think was a fan favorite, scored a bunch of goals, but I don't know. He was kind of a horse apiece with the guy I picked, and so I didn't pick LaFontaine, but people will probably get mad at me for that. The other guy I kind of considered was Phil Housley, Minnesota's Phil Housley, St. Paul, Minnesota's Phil Housley.
Go back to episode whatever when Phil went off on Phil Housley, and someone didn't like that Phil. We got.
I don't care. My skin is thick. He's overrated.
Well, he has almost 0 hobby market, so couldn't pick him.
But people know.
Had a pretty legendary career in Buffalo. But ultimately, getting back to Mount Rushmore, I chose Alexander Mogilny because he had a great career in Buffalo, of course, and I did it as part of our continued protest that he's not in the Hall of Fame. That was like the tide turning point for me. It's confusing to me at this point as how he's not in. So he played like LaFontaine, so he only played 6 seasons with the Sabers, 381 games with the team, but scored 211 goals and added 233 assists for 444 points in 381 games. So, of course, that's more than half a goal per game and more than a point per game with the Sabres. He played on the line with Dave Andrechuk and Pat LaFontaine, where obviously those 3 had a great connection. Another, I guess, fact or stat that put him over the top for me was, of course, his monster 76 goal season in 1992-93. He did that, guys, in only 77 games played.
Yep. Do you guys remember that? I do remember that time in your. Him and Bure, they changed the way young people saw the game, and old and everybody in between. That's what the special thing about Mogilny is. That's what the insane thing about the Hall of Fame he changed this breaking out of his zone and that thigh strength and that it was him and Bure just rocked everybody in the hockey industry, man. It was amazing to see. Amazing to see.
So his 76 goal season in 1992-93, that's ties him with Phil Esposito and Teemu Selanne, who scored his 76 goals, of course, in the same year as a rookie, for the fifth most all time in a single NHL season. And Mogilny does have a little bit of a edge, maybe on LaFontaine. Maybe it's kind of close in their hobby market. So 1,159 Mogilny cards have sold in the secondary market so far in 2024. None of those, though, for more than 500 US. It's kind of sad. All-time high sale for an Alexander Mogilny card is this 1997 Pinnacle Zenith Z Gold out of 100 raw that sold for $446 US in June 2022. Never had a $500 sale.
Poor guy.
Yeah.
It's because he played on Vancouver, man. Leaves a bad taste in people's mouth.
Baba Louie, can you start to keep a list of who Phil offends in a show? Because we've gotten Vancouver, Phil Housley fans.
You cannot speak the truth unless you're willing to offend.
I know.
All right.
Well, so we had Hasek, Gilbert Perreault, Dave Andrechuk, and Alexander Mogilny. How did I do? How mad do you think the fans are going to be?
I agree with your picks. I wish there was a way to sneak Ryan Miller on here, but I don't think
the toughest.
I don't think there is. I don't think you can get him on. I mean, and personally, I have an affection for Alexander Mogilny. I think it's an absolute joke that he's not in the Hall of Fame. Just like what Phil said, changing the game. But listen, he's also the first guy that basically defected, right? In the that led the wave of all the other guys defecting over. I don't understand how that combination of stuff. I mean, maybe he's a jerk. I don't know. Is that why they hate him? Is that why Lanny McDonald hates him? I don't know. But it's ridiculous that he's not in. But yeah, Ryan Miller's the one I want to wedge in here, but I don't know if you can. You really can't.
I'll take it for you, Troy. So I'll take. When you said Dave Andrechuk, I feel like a dodo bird. I completely forgot he was Buffalo because I think Dave Andrechuk, I think of him in Tampa hoisting the cup. I think of him as a Tampa Bay.
That was at the end of his career, right?
Yeah, I don't care. Andrechuk's out. Ryan Miller's in. I got you, Buffalo. I got you, Buffalo citizens. Right. Yeah, Miller's in. Andrechuk's out. There you go. I'll do it so you don't have to, Troy.
Okay. Well, who do we want to do next? Louis, you chime in from producer land here. Red Wings, Lightning, Maple Leafs, or Bruins? All big teams.
I say a U.S. team. We got to hold off on the Canadians. We're going to run out of them pretty quick.
All right, so that would be Red Wings, Lightning, or Bruins. Phil, you got an opinion? Louis wants Wings.
No, I think they're all good. They're all exciting. We don't want to do too many of the good ones right away. We should do a team like nobody cares about first. We should do the blue team. We should do the Leafs.
Well, that's a Canadian team, so that flies right in the face of what Troy just said.
Anaheim. Do Anaheim.
We're in the Atlantic Division. We have 4 choices. Our 4 choices are the Red Wings, Lightning, Maple Leafs, or Bruins. You got to pick one of those, Phil.
Any one of them I'm good with.
All right. You good with the Wings, Troy? Should we do Baba Louie's Wings?
Yes, let's do the Red Wings.
That's going to be another nightmare like Montreal, but okay.
Well, there's one for sure. You already got one locked in.
No, whoa. Montreal is a much more storied franchise than the Red Wings. Without Gordie Howe, come on. What do you got? Ted Lindsay?
Save the conversation for next week.
Don't worry about that pretty good center they had in the 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
And Mo Sider. Let's go.
Oh.
I love Stevie Y. Don't worry, but you can't compare Detroit to Montreal.
Okay, we're almost done with the Red Wings. Should we just keep doing the Mount Rushmore?
We're going to move on, and we're going to mention Slab Sharks, Gongshow partner and sponsor. Thank them for their support, right, Phil? We thank Slab Sharks. Please thank Slab Sharks, Phil.
I love you, Slab Sharks. I do love them. They're fantastic.
We do too. The current Slab Sharks weekly eBay action is live, ends this upcoming Thursday night. Over 1,700 cards in this week's auction for your viewing and bidding pleasure. One of my favorite things to do is check out all the new cards in the Slab Sharks weekly auction once it goes live. We got to do that, of course, this weekend. You guys did too. We each picked out a couple of favorite cards that we liked and wanted to share on our show. Troy, I'm not mad at you anymore. for not inviting me to Green Day, so you can go first again.
All right, my two faves. I better get ready for Phil. It's booklet time, baby. So
Booklet cards.
It's ridiculous.
Booklet cards. There's 3 2018 Upper Deck the Cup Pro Gear Game Used Patch Jersey Autos out of 12.
You're only allowed to pick 2, Troy. You're already
I went crazy.
Horizontal lines matter. Horizontal lines matter.
I grouped these. So here's the first one, Connor McDavid. Hey, I just think it's a cool looking card. So I would definitely want this. Plus, I love Flo McDavid with hair coming out the back of the helmet. You don't see that too often on his cards. Next one, Wayne Gretzky. Another legend. And then the third one right here.
Blues legend.
Blues legend. And then Sidney Crosby. So I think these are cool. And even if you don't consider them a hockey card, I still like the idea of these cards that you kind of get like the one touch that they make for these, and you put them in and you display them. This because it's like art to me. Like this is a cool little art piece too. And then my second card, and I just had to discuss this.
That's 4 cards. That's 4 cards.
I grouped 3, so that's one. And then this is my second one. Now this card, it's really small. No, I just brought it up because we have to talk about this thing. Like my whole thing with this. So it's a 2009 Upper Deck black 6-on-6 rival jersey, Pittsburgh, Philadelphia. You can see it's got a ton of players, but can a fan of either one of these teams own this card, or would they get too mad the whole time? Because they have, if you're a Philly fan, so you're Neil, and you look over and, oh my God, there's all these Pittsburgh Penguins on my card. I just think this card is wild. And like, I'm not even the biggest like jersey napkin patch guy, but I've never seen a card like this. I thought it was interesting. Love the Philly or the Pittsburgh blue jerseys. Those are my favorite. But yeah, this card is something bonkers. I don't even know if someone could own this if they're a fan of that, but hey, it's out there.
You're listening to this. Troy showed a booklet card. So they're not cards, they're booklets. That's all. I'll meet you.
But a Hallmark card is a card, and that's a booklet. Like
that is a booklet.
Burn.
I didn't hear it, so I'm not burned. I would cut that
in a box.
I would cut that in the middle. That's what I would do. Like,
well, that's fine. You can cut it. I have no problem with that.
I'm not buying it. Why would I cut it? You buy it. I'll cut it when you're not looking.
All right, Troy. Thank you for picking 2, which became 4 cards. All good options. That is kind of crazy to think because there are such heated rivals. So
yeah, but I guess it fits with the card. It's called the rival card.
Well, I picked only 2 favorites, and they're both cards, Phil. So you'll love me. The first one is this 2009 OPG Premier. This looks like such a cup card, doesn't it? Mario Lemieux Remnants Quad Patch Auto out of 5. I very much like this card.
Why is there red on it though? Is that the design of the card? That's the only thing okay. Because I was like, that's the only thing that threw me off, and I was like, did they mess up the teams? But then if that's the actual design of the card, I get it.
I understand your point, and I counter with the Nike helmet.
Yeah, Nike helmet's cool.
Yeah, and I love me an Oli Lefsa auto. It's just the greatest thing. Are you on board with that, Phil? Like, tell me that doesn't spell Oli Lefsa, and more so than Mario Lemieux.
Well, I don't read the autos, but you've seen this auto for what, 25 years? You know that's Mario Lemieux's auto. Yeah,
but there's no like. If somebody had never played hockey and you said, hey, what's this guy's name? Just based on the auto,
you can't
0 people out of 100.
But there's an evolution to an man's autograph. There's an evolution. If you saw it year by year, you don't just wake up and say, oh, I'm old, right? But if you take a picture once a year, you see the progression of getting old. So this is the end result of an evolved autograph.
I love it. It's just Oli Lefsa. So give it to me. Mm-hmm. My second card is a 2013-14 Upper Deck Alexander Barkov.
Yes,
Young Guns exclusives out of 100 raw. Stanley Cup winner Sasha Barkov. I picked it because I wanted to say Sasha. Mm-hmm. Very, very cool card, though.
You don't like saying Alexander?
Alexander?
That's my brother's name. Oh, to hear my mom's voice. Okay, let's go.
All right, Phil. You ready?
I forgot what I picked.
Okay.
We're gonna sit here until you remember what you picked.
I think is one of Crosby. Yeah, I remember. See, Crosby parallel insert. I love these cards. I share the love of these cup inserts. They're base cards. So what you're looking at is a out of, usually the patches are out of 8. I can't see this one very well.
Yeah, it's on 8.
Is it? Okay, so it's out of 8. And it's a patch cup insert card auto. It's absolutely beautiful. Oh, but the auto, see, usually the auto looks a bit better. The crest of the Sydney's jersey is the autograph is right on the crest. So you know, that's unfortunate. It's still a beautiful card. I'll pick these up all day long if I find any prominent player I'd like to put in my PC. And you can usually get them for pretty cheap. So definitely I would bid on this. Oh, yeah. I'm really into McDavid lately, and I think this is a really nice card. So this is a 2015, so rookie year, Upper Deck portfolio. It's just a regular, I guess, cheap insert, you would say, in Flagship. Would that be? Yeah. And it's, but I like the picture because it says rookie phenom. It's his rookie year. He's walking out of the gate. He looks like young Connor. He looks a little nervous, even though we know McDavid can't be nervous. It's a great picture, and he's got hands all going around him as he's walking out. He just looks like a good young man. And you know, we're in 2024. We know the last 9 years he's had no cup, but other than that, it's had a pretty good career. And it's just a nice card that has some nostalgia feeling to it.
Is portfolio part of Flagship, or was it one of those?
I don't know.
Products that Upper Deck did just because they did a bunch of stuff just for McDavid's rookie
year.
One
of his, like they do the single boxes, McDavid box, Matthews box.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
So
you could be right. I assumed it was Flagship.
Why have collectors consigned over 1,700 cards just this week with Slab Sharks? Well, it's for a couple reasons. First, they take away all the stress of selling your cards on eBay because they do all the work. They're kind of like your eBay butler, Phil. That's what I like to think of Slab Sharks. You can sip on some like rich person's cocktail and be like, "Oh, Slab Sharks. Oh, Slab Sharks. Come hither. List these cards." Right? Is that what a butler? Is that how you?
No,
you
it's a butler because he's my butler.
Oh yeah, yeah. Here you go. Well, you just send them your cards or drop them off at a local show where they have reps. Sylvan, drop them off with Sylvan. Load them up with cards. Load them up with like $2 rookies. So he would love that. Don't do that. And then they take care of everything. Your cards get professionally listed, including their very popular weekly eBay auctions. It's kind of like a hobby no-brainer, I think, as they like to say in the biz. Check out slabsharks.com for complete consignment info, including payout rates to start the consignment process today. Hobby news!
Hobby news.
News of the hobby.
Want to say it, Louis?
Hobby news.
Here you go, buddy. You love when I do that, Phil. Well, very exciting moment for us here in the hobby. And a big honor. The Hughes Bros are set to don the cover of the very, very popular NHL 25 video game. You like that, Troy?
What? I do. We should not say a word and just see if anyone recognizes what's going on.
Many hours went into.
You're watching on YouTube.
I think that's one of my better jobs ever.
That's not a Hughes brother in the corner.
What are you talking about?
Stop it.
Stop. That is.
I always get them confused. You're confusing me. This is the Josh.
It's the honorary. He's an honorary Hughes brother.
Yeah, I'll go through it. If you're listening and not watching, I'll explain. Don't worry. In this picture of the cover shot provided to us, we have the whole Hughes family present. We have brother Quinn, brother Jack, brother Luke. And this must be, I think this is like the collector's edition copy we got or something like that, Troy, because it even includes sorta brother Jack Quinn.
Yep.
Get it? Quinn Hughes, Jack Hughes.
I don't think Phil gets.
No, I do. I get the Quinns and the Hughes confused all the time, and this has just destroyed my brain.
That's why the joke is like we could never get it straight. I always thought he was one of the brothers, and then it's like, oh no, wait.
Yeah. I think that's one of my better Photoshop jobs ever too.
That's awesome.
It kind of looks like he's in the photo, doesn't it?
Especially with this arm.
I'm very proud of myself.
It's the arm hanging around. That's awesome.
All right, very, very exciting. Now, do you guys think that we could be on the verge of a Hughes Bros hobby takeover this year? I kind of feel like that's lining up. I think there could be a little bit of a comeback for old Jack Hughes and the continued ascension for Quinn Hughes. And Luke had a pretty good rookie year. Yeah. What do you guys think?
I don't pay much attention to them. Yeah, I don't know. My finger is not on the pulse.
This is, though, an opportunity that the NHL needs to understand from a marketing perspective. Right. You have this very unique circumstance with 3 brothers who are all really good at hockey, and let's leverage that. So I don't know like how involved NHL gets with the EA Sports game. I'm sure they have some say in that, or the NHLPA does, but
I'm guessing they do. It makes here's a great question. What makes more money? NHL hockey cards or NHL hockey by EA Sports?
Ooh, guts.
I think I got to go with the video game, but
yes,
really?
I would think so.
Yeah, I mean, it's a way bigger industry. Like it dwarfs what the card market is or whatever.
So we should be a NHL video game podcast, and we can.
I don't like video games. I don't want to play video games.
I get old after a while.
We won't because of Phil. Okay, my next question. I know there's a Madden curse in the football world. Does that exist in the EA NHL game cover? So could the opposite effect? Could there be the EA cover curse where all 4 of them have horrible seasons now?
Okay, I have to say, you keep saying 4. You Photoshop this, right? He's not actually on the cover, right? Because
I don't know, but this is the collector's edition, so they might have put. I think he is on this one.
I'm putting on my contacts next time. This is not fair.
Now I'm really proud of myself for my Photoshop because, like, I had to create multiple layers and get him. I'm getting all techie here, but yeah, it was a lot.
And we should say this is the deluxe cover. Like this is. It says on top deluxe edition. Yeah. Now, yes. For to be honest, take out the guy in the Sabers. Take out.
Then stop saying 4. You're messing me up. It's 3 brothers. 3 brothers, right?
It's 3 brothers and a sort of brother. That's how you
for the bit, but not real life.
But sometimes you do the bit enough and it becomes real life.
Okay. We're gonna will it into existence. I'm looking at I don't know if there is a curse on the NHL. For sure, the Madden curse, but I'm looking at the NHL curse. I don't see the NHL curse, but maybe I'm missing it.
Okay, now my next question, another very important one. Do we think the Hughes Bros have a chance? Hasn't happened yet. A lot of games in their career left to play. But do you think there's a chance that they could become the best brothers combination in NHL history? But okay, the obvious one is the second best because we all know that Wayne and Brent Gretzky will always be the best brothers in NHL history.
Are you saying best is most points? Is that what you're?
I just regard as the best. Yeah, okay. Because Brent was so good that Wayne and Brent will be number 1.
Well, Stastny brothers were pretty good too.
Well, okay. I have the list.
Oh, okay.
I have now. There's only 2 of them, but Maurice and Henri Richard. It's gonna be a tough one to beat.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
There's Phil and Tony Esposito. Another tough pairing to beat. Then you have Peter, Anton, and Marian Stastny, who are pretty good too. Henrik and Daniel Sedin.
The aliens.
Can't forget one person. That's not 2 people. That's just one.
They're 2 aliens. 2 aliens. Yeah, the Grays.
Can't forget all 6 of the Sutter brothers. Well, Brian, Duane, Daryl, Brent, Rich, and Ron.
That's crazy.
Scott and Rob Niedermeyer. So lots of competition for the Hughes Bros. But they got a lot of talent there too. So
you didn't say the Turgeon, Sylvain, and Pierre. You just didn't want to say Sylvain. Sylvain. You didn't want to say French names.
Yeah. So Troy, will your kid end up playing NHL 25? Is he big into that?
Oh yeah, his hockey team will all play it. They basically what they do is they make their team, and then they play. They put them in like a franchise or do what's the other thing? The big. This is sad. I can't remember it. The Ultimate Team. They'll do Ultimate Team or whatever and play that all the time.
Who's your kid into? Like, is he into the Hughes brothers at all, or is he where are these guys, or like who are his
he's not really into any player besides like he likes the wild players like Kaprizov and stuff. But with them, they're so ingrained into like these kind of the whole. They just know he knows every player. And they just like they know all of them. They don't really. It seems like the whole days of like an idol seem to be gone. I don't know. They just all his friends. It's the same way. They all know everything about the NHL and all the players, but they don't really have this like one person they latch onto. But
gotcha.
It's all the YouTubers that get all that now. Like the YouTubers are the big guys.
Yeah, I got you. Okay, so there we go. The Troy's or Phil's favorite all 4 Hughes Bros on the NHL covered 25. Next story. What was your favorite Yaroslav Askarov in Nashville moment, Troy?
So you thought your last Photoshop was good? This one might be better.
You like it?
This is me photoshopping right now. This is like the Troy version.
That's pretty good, Troy.
No, Josh.
I did that.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's okay.
I am a digital artiste. The young 22-year-old goalie prospect has been traded to the San Jose Sharks.
Yep.
If you recall from our story way back on our last show, that when the Predators signed UC Saros to an 8-year deal, that Askarov's been, I guess, feeling the squeeze since then and is done with the peasant life of the AHL and wants the glitz and glam of to be an NHL full-timer. So he pretty much demanded a trade, and it looks like his wish came true. So San Jose receives Askarov forward Nolan Burke. Hey, Troy, you want to give Nolan Burke a quick scouting report?
Great hockey IQ.
Phil, that's an who?
A Hooters you got there.
Okay. All right, Troy. Sorry, I talked over your scouting report.
Oh, my joke. My great hockey IQ.
Oh,
you need to know.
San Jose also gets a 2025 third-round pick. And sorry, I can't think of an animal sound to represent a third-round pick. So
it might be a Tonka kid. They've been at Tonka a lot interviewing.
Really?
People. Yeah.
Really?
There's a couple on their radar.
The Preds in return get Upper Deck's Golden Boy in all 2023 products, a rookie goalie. They also received forward David Edstrom.
Oh, so cute.
Goalie Magnus Corona, who apparently is refusing to play in the NHL.
Oh, no.
So work on it. Oh, okay. Okay, now, and they also got a 2025 first-round pick that comes with conditions, whatever that means.
Yeah.
So don't laugh at me, boys. I'm starting to kind of vibe with the young core that the Sharks are building. So they got Macklin Celebrini, we know. Will Smith, not the actor that punched Chris Rock, another guy. William Eklund, who
slapped.
Yeah. William Eklund, who was actually decent last year. A lot of Swedish collectors are big into William Eklund. Fabian Zetterlund, who is pretty decent. They also got some wily vet leadership. They got Tyler Toffoli. Do you guys know he's on the Sharks now?
Yeah, I like Toffoli.
Logan Couture is still there. And our old wild guy, Troy, Mikhail Granlund.
Nice.
No idea about the defense, but then you have Askarov. And so you got Celebrini, Will Smith, Eklund, Askarov. That's not bad. I mean, there's hope there, right?
They lost Carlson, though. Big hole to fill.
Yeah. Oh, gosh.
Not really. I'm an
EK65
fan. That's why. Yeah. Will Smith's good. Watch out for him. He's good. Sucks.
But when you lose Carlson, doesn't the hole in the defense automatically get filled?
Oh, so funny. You leave Prince Eric alone. He's a gentleman and a scholar.
Now, apparently the Canadiens were in the mix to get Askarov. They were one of the teams vying for him. So here's the big question. We saw a huge hobby reaction with the trade of Diet PLD from Columbus to Montreal Canadiens. Patrick Laine cards have gone nuts. Yeah, it is fun to see hobby moments like that when people get super excited, of course, for a new player joining their team. So has there been the same reaction regarding Askarov and the Sharks fans all across the globe? Want to take a guess, Phil? Have Sharks fans enthusiasm?
I'm going to say a hard no.
Okay, well, let's find out. Last two sales of Askarov's 2023-24 Young Guns PSA 10, Pop 284, 41% gem rate, both post-trade have been $115 US and $120 US. Prior to the trade, this card was selling in the $70 to $80 range.
Oh, I was wrong. Okay.
You want to show the card, Troy?
Oh, sure.
It was two sales.
That's a nice card.
So,
yeah, this is, I mean, iconic. Card. Like this one I've seen a bunch, but I was gonna say, if you went to Montreal, it would have been 10 times that. It would be like $1,000.
Oh yeah, they're crazy. They're great though. Yeah,
they would have gone bananas if they got Laine and Askarov in the same week, right?
Yeah.
Flips both ways though, because if Laine, when he doesn't perform in Montreal, they're not even gonna sell the cards. They're just gonna throw them off the buildings. They won't care. So the price goes up as fast as it goes down.
We got one more quick story in hobby news. There's more Toronto Sport Card Expo autograph signers were announced. The velocity of names as to who will be signing at the upcoming Toronto Sport Card Expo should only continue to increase as we get closer and closer to November 7th. We have some more athletes committed to sign, some bigger names. I think we'll get bigger and bigger names too. So we have Hockey Hall of Fame inductee Jeremy Roenick will be signing. You going to be in line for Roenick, Phil?
No, I'd love to meet him, but I can't pay. I can't do it. And I know I can't pay money for another man to sign something for me. I can't do it. If I bump into him, great.
Bill, you're on to something. I wouldn't want his autograph. I'd rather sit down and have a beer. I think
he
seems fantastic, conversation.
Yeah.
Well, there might be an opportunity for us to have a conversation, but we'll get into that down the road. The next one's a big one for me. I think I am going to pay a man to get an autograph because I can't pass this up. I love Peter Stastny. I've been given, because people know that, very kindly, a number of followers of our show, listeners, watchers, have given me a couple of very nice rookie cards. And I had the thought the other day, it would be cool to take a gift that a listener of the show gave me and have that card signed by Peter Stastny.
That's a good call. I don't think he'd be that expensive either, would it?
I don't know. No idea. Would love to interview him too, Mikey. So, yeah. Mikey. Yeah. So, there we go. Now, it's going to be a Stastny family affair. Paul will be there signing autos as well, Phil. Right? So, we got Peter Stastny. We got Paul Stastny. You got the photo, Troy?
I'll go to Paul's line so he doesn't feel like you're, being mean to him. Troy, no picture?
Oh, that's all right. That's okay. We can. Now we just need Mary, Phil. You get it?
Mary Stastny?
Peter, Paul, and Mary.
Oh, got it. Go ahead.
Yeah. Someone once told me that jokes with 40-year-old references you probably shouldn't do, but there we go.
Oh, I do have the photo. Hold on. Right here.
Paul Stastny.
There you go.
I thought there was like a funny one or something that I totally missed.
You know why you didn't get to the photo? Because I could see the anger building on your face, Troy. Like, where are the goalies? Long, I can tell when you're mad, but don't you worry. There's 2 goalies that were just announced. Marty Biron. Is it Biron? Biron?
Biron.
What do we say? Biron?
Marty Biron.
He'll be signing. Are you a Biron guy? Biron
He's great.
guy,
He
Troy?
was on RDS. He's a. Oh, sorry. You're asking Troy.
Yeah. Well, what's DS? What does that mean? You're saying he's on RDS?
RDS. It's the French TSN in Canada.
Yeah, we did it. He's our 0-0 guy. He wore 0-0.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Yeah, he's a great guy. He's really personable, really funny.
Then there's also Andrew Raycroft. He'll be signing.
I don't know that. I don't know anything about Andrew.
What a great picture. What, he roll out of bed?
He's like,
ridiculous. Where's his
apparently he was the rookie of the year in 2004. When you
isn't
say
that crazy? It's like I knew the name. It's just I could tell you nothing about his career.
Boston's had so many good goalies. It's unfair. It's not fair, man. Tim Thomas alone, killed us.
All right. Well, there we go. Hobby news. Very, very excited about this next segment. And I think part of what makes the offseason great is the latitude that we get to do fun stuff on the show. You know, when you're not so locked into who scored 7 goals last week in games, right? We got to pay attention to that. So we thought we'd try something fun. We put up a series of Instagram polls centering on various hobby topics like sets, players, accessories, trends, etc. Then we asked the show followers and hobby community if each of these aspects of the hobby are underrated or overrated. Guys, we had over 4,000 total votes.
Wow. That's awesome.
That's
nice.
Crazy.
That's
crazy. Great. Blew my mind. Completely nutty. So thank you to everyone who did that. By far the most votes on any hobby poll that we've ever done. Just for you, Phil. Just for you. Yeah, that's my favorite too. So yeah, people seem pretty into it. The official Gongshow hobby poll right there. So we thought that we would have Troy and his very good friend Phil each guess on what the hobby thinks related to each hobby topic. Is it overrated or is it underrated? And then Baba Louie is going to keep score. Neither, whichever you go with, Phil nor Troy have seen the answers. So they're going to play a game against each other. They're going to compete. And whoever wins, whoever gets more right, is a better person. So stakes are high.
Okay.
Right, we're gonna go question by question. Troy and Phil will give their answer, and then we'll get your opinion too on personally whether you think that this topic or player set is overrated or underrated. Any questions, boys?
Yes. So does the hobby, are the answers of what I think the hobby is going to say or what I think it
Both.
should be?
You're gonna answer what you think the hobby is, and
Okay.
then you're gonna give your opinion.
Okay.
You're only scored on if you guessed right with the hobby.
Troy's a better person than me. He wins. So let's give her.
Everyone feels safe? Phil, you look worried. You okay?
No, I'm always safe. I'm good to go.
All right. Baba Louie is going to throw up the first questions there, right? And so the first one was Young Guns base cards. Troy, you'll go first.
Okay. Hobby overrated. I will say they're overrated.
All right. Phil, what do you think?
So just to clarify, these are not exclusives or high gloss, just the base card Young Gun.
Yeah, it says base cards.
Okay. So overrated, and my opinion is also overrated.
Okay. Now the hobby has spoken. 67% of voters say that Young Guns base cards are overrated. I don't think that surprises anyone.
No, it's a commodity. I mean, we've talked about it many times.
All right. Now we're going to move on, and it'll get maybe a little bit more interesting from here. So the next one is a set, Upper Deck Premier. Right? We're going to continue to let you go first. It's tied. The game is tied right now. Does the hobby think Premier is overrated or underrated?
I'm going to say the general hobby in general is salty. So I'm going to say the hobby says Premier is overrated. This is where I have a terrible opinion because I don't buy any Upper Deck Premier. So I'm going to go with, I'm going to say Premier is overrated too.
All right, Phil, what do you think?
Okay. So I think the hobby is going to say it's underrated. That's what I think. And I hands down say it's overrated.
I like Premier a lot. I think it's actually underrated. So that's my 2 cents. But the hobby has spoken. Doesn't matter what we say. Baba Louie. Yeah. The hobby
Underrated.
by 63%. Now, is that pretty much the same percentage as Young Guns, right? Almost the same sort of flip there.
Yep, exactly.
Similar, yeah.
Yeah. So 63% of the hobby says that Upper Deck Premier as a set is underrated. Oh, very interesting. So now, is it 1-0 Troy?
No. 1-0 Phil.
Oh, Phil. Okay, sorry. No, I don't pay attention to my own game. So now the next one is a super controversial topic. So sketchy. One-touch cases. Troy.
I'm going to go with hobby will say underrated. I think they're overrated.
Oh, Troy Bear. Oh, just when you
I don't like hard plastic touching my cards.
Oh, please. Can't wait to go to a restaurant with you. Well, we have been to a restaurant.
You want me to order my steak? I'm gonna go with you to a restaurant, a steakhouse, and I'm gonna order it well done.
Oh, you will not do that. You will not do that.
When Troy orders a steak, it comes beef jerky, essentially. You got to guess, Phil.
So I think the hobby is going to say one-touch cases are underrated, and I think Phil is going to also give the correct answer and say they're underrated. Jeremy Lee thinks they're overrated too, because he doesn't have space in his house to put them in.
Okay. Baba Louie, what does the hobby say? 72% say Baba. We gotta bring you on stage here because you gotta help with the score. So now is it 2-0 Phil? Is that what?
Yep.
That's what I got.
Okay. All right. Well, there we go.
You're screwing me up having them choose what they think, though. Now I got to think.
Oh, well, sorry.
I'll make sure not to have Josh umpire at my baseball games. Is it 2 strikes or 2 balls?
Something. Just throw a pitch.
Just throw the pitch. We're having fun.
Okay. Our next topic, Louie, you ready? Golden Treasures. 101s. Roy, does the hobby think they're
underrated?
Okay. What do you think, Phil?
Oh, this one's hard. I think the hobby is going to say, you know what? I think the hobby is going to say they're overrated. Oh, I don't know now. Because they're coming out in Allure. I'm going to have to go with my brain. My heart wants to say no. Okay, so final answer. The hobby says they're overrated, and Phil says they're overrated as well because they're in Allure. They should.
And
be
you guys
in
are different
one.
here, right? Because Troy, you said underrated, right?
Yeah, I said underrated on both.
All right. Well, Baba Louie, what does the hobby say?
Oh,
69% of the hobby says they're underrated. Only 31% say overrated. So that gives Troy a point.
Oh yeah, I was
and
wrong.
Yeah, you were celebrating.
Yeah, I don't know. I forgot to. Well, apparently, I'm not going to be an umpire in the game either.
I was gonna leave Phil in his own little world there.
Okay.
Oh, well.
So I have it 2-1 Phil. Is that where you got Louis?
Correct.
Okay. Oh, this next one could break our hearts. Kirill Kaprizov. We have 3 Minnesota boys who love our dollar bill Kirill. Now, Troy, what does the hobby think? Underrated or overrated for Kirill Kaprizov?
I'm gonna go overrated for the hobby, and then I think he's underrated.
Bill?
I agree with Troy Bear. I think the hobby is going to say he's overrated, but I'm going to say he's underrated because I saw him play live, and he is not overrated. Yeah.
All right, Louis. What did the hobby say?
Yeah.
This hobby broke my heart. 56% of respondents said Kirill Kaprizov is overrated. Only 44% said underrated.
He's a superstar. Don't doubt him.
That one was a push. Right?
Mm-hmm.
This next one is interesting, and I'll get into it after it's the Toronto Sport Card Expo. Now, Troy, does the hobby think the Sport Card Expo is underrated or overrated?
I'm gonna say the hobby. It's got to be underrated, right? But this is a really hard one because people are gonna vote that've never been there, and they're just gonna be like, I don't want to go there. So I'm gonna say underrated on the hobby. Troy personally thinks it's underrated. It's fantastic.
Well, so you said over. You said underrated and underrated.
Underrated for both.
Okay, Phil.
I think the hobby's going to say overrated, and I say
right.
it's underrated.
You're going to be right too. It's going to be like 90%. Probably.
Come on, survey says.
Survey says.
Oh, underrated. Okay.
70% say underrated.
Wow.
And it is hockey card heaven. So I think the hobby, in my opinion, is spot on there. Louis and I, when we put these polls up and we were getting so many votes, we're following it very closely. And for the first few hours, it was overrated.
Yeah, I was
scared. It kind of flipped. So we were like, wow, kind of blew our mind there. Next one.
We're tied, Troy.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. What's the score, Louis?
2-2.
2-2. All right. Jack Hughes. EA, one of 4 brothers on the EA 25 cover. Now, Troy, does the hobby think Jack Hughes is overrated or underrated?
Oh my gosh, because he had we'll say it was a down year. Still have order point per game. I'm gonna say the hobby's salty. I'm gonna say they're gonna think he's overrated. I think he's underrated.
Bill?
I say overrated and overrated as well. But I don't have the best material to make that a judgment call. So I'll just say overrated.
All right, Baba Louie. What did the hobby say?
Ooh,
very close.
Underrated. Neither of us.
52% said
close.
underrated.
This is like a push, basically. Given the error, right? What's this? Did you calculate the margin of error on our polls?
Standard deviation or whatever.
Those are all the card bros with PSAs slabs. Come on, he's underrated. I got a good deal for you.
52% said underrated. 48% said overrated on Jack Hughes. Our next one, vintage hockey cards. Roy, what does the hobby think? Underrated or overrated?
Underrated. I'd say underrated too, because the thing I think I forget is just it's hard to know a lot about vintage, and when you go back and look at these cards and the simplicity, and I only had to worry about 1 or 2 cards, I love it. So underrated, both underrated.
What's your guess, Phil?
I think the hobby's going to say overrated because more young people are on social media, but I think vintage cards are underrated because we shouldn't forget our history, but we always do. So,
well, Baba Louie, the hobby has spoken, and what do they say?
Oh, I was wrong. Troy's winning.
The young people have come through, I guess.
I'm a putz. I'm the old man yelling at the clouds. Yeah, I'm wrong.
I was like, you said that. I was like, oh God, he's pretty right on that.
Not even super close.
No.
The hobby has spoken, and vintage hockey cards, according to 69% of voters, say is underrated. Only 31% said overrated.
I find that really hard to believe. I like to get these polls counted.
Audit. The audit.
I'd like an audit, please.
All right.
Hughes,
you can fund that. Yeah. Now a topic straight to Troy's heart.
Oh, boring.
Ooh. Troy, does the hobby think goalie cards are overrated or underrated?
Underrated, and I'll say they're underrated.
Bill.
Yeah, overrated and overrated.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
All right, Louis. What does the hobby think?
Oh, what is
with
a
bullet, baby? With a bullet on that one.
Whatever. Like, what does the hobby think? Left winger hockey cards are better.
Goalie cards are special though.
You
You gotta remember, like if Upper Deck, they should make a goalie card like set, like a just a one off. Just do it one time and make it super special with mask, with artwork. Get the licensing. Get your legal department working. Go after that stuff. You could do some crazy stuff.
All right. Another juicy topic is the next one. Future Watch autos. Roy, does the hobby think these are overrated or underrated?
Hobby overrated. I'm going to go with, man, I really like them, but there's $999. But it's, okay, I'm going to go overrated from the hobby, underrated by me.
Bill?
I agree with Troy on this. The hobby is going to say overrated, but I personally think it's underrated.
Well, it doesn't matter what you guys think because the hobby has spoken.
Oh, yes, we got it.
Barely.
51% say overrated. 49% say underrated. That is the closest. Basically a push. Does that surprise you that it's so close or no?
No, not at all.
Okay, the next one goes straight to Phil's heart.
Hey, we need to make a point here. Phil.
Yes.
You're down by 2. 3 questions left.
Oh, yes. I forgot we're competing.
Parker's champions. Bill, Parker's champions.
Can I go first?
Oh,
go first.
So cute.
I think the hobby's going to say overrated, and I'm going to say underrated.
I'm going to say underrated.
Ooh. Then would this be a win?
Well, if I was smart, I would just go with whatever Phil says the rest. Or I can't if I go first, but I would just follow him along, and then I'd win, right, by default.
Yeah, I've learned in this game I have a paying attention problem. Did they pick different answers or?
Yes, they're different for this one.
Josh, come on.
I'm underrated. Phil's overrated.
Correct.
All right. Well, Louis, the hobby's spoken. What did the hobby say?
Oh, come on.
You got it.
I said the hobby's going to say it's overrated.
Yeah, you got this one.
Good job.
You know what? I'm getting confused. There's too many numbers and subjective terminology here.
There's 2 numbers.
But there's a lot of variable outcomes. That's what I was trying to say. I'm happy I'm winning.
Oh, you ain't winning.
No,
I'm
you're
not?
down by 1. You're down by 1. So the hobby, wait, we got to go back.
Sorry, bro.
People listen to the show. The hobby said by 52% that Parker's Champions is overrated compared to 48% underrated. So we've had like 3 or 4 questions now that have been very, very close. Very controversial. We have 2 more left. Both big topics in the hobby. The first one is the PSA 10 grade. Troy.
Hobby
who?
Oh,
okay.
I'm up by 1. Hobby says overrated. Troy says overrated too. All grading's overrated.
Ditto.
Okay. Well, Baba Louie, what did the hobby say about PSA 10 grading?
Yeah, I was gonna say this one would be pretty. It's gonna be a pretty slam dunk one. 70-30, or was that 69-32?
68-32.
Who underrated that? Who's like, that's ridiculous.
But if the hobby thinks by a large margin, like 2-1, that PSA 10 grades are overrated, then why does everybody do it? Is it just because they get the most money?
Yeah,
the people that do it are loud about it.
Mm-hmm. We have one more question. Is Troy still up by 1?
He is.
2.
No.
No,
You
no,
guys
no, we're just one.
Oh no,
You
no, we
just-
pushed. I keep adding
Okay.
points to.
You
When we
answer the
push-
questions, I'll keep score.
Here's the last topic.
Ooh.
Bedsy, Connor Bedard, Troy. Does the hobby think Connor Bedard is overrated or underrated?
Overrated. I'll say he's overrated too, just given the one season.
Yeah, ditto. So unfortunately,
No.
I'm not being strategic.
You're a man of ethics and not strategy. All right, Baba Louie, what does the hobby say?
Yeah, I knew this was
Oh,
going to be a big one
yeah.
too. It's like after one season where he gets injured, what do you expect? I mean,
Yeah.
his values are still nuts, but it's like, what has he shown besides hype? I mean, he's shown talent, obviously, but
I think he's shown as much as he can. I think he did the best job he could. It's just we need more of a canvas of time.
yeah.
I think he
By
did-
a margin of
Excuse me.
73% to 27%, the hobby says Connor Bedard is overrated. Kind of crazy. Well, I thought that was a lot of fun. Do you guys like that?
Yeah, it was great. Let's do that again.
We can. I mean, we won't do it every week, but there's a million topics we could pick. Now, overall, were the topics pretty good? Or like, what's the
Yeah, they were
feedback?
good. I don't like competing though. It doesn't have to be a contest with me and Troy.
Well, that's because you just lost and you're a loser.
I had one I was going to throw on here, and it was
You
funny,
bunch
you know?
of losers.
Oh my god! Here's my one suggestion. We should have
Yeah.
had Upper Deck, the pup cards. Overrated, underrated.
Oh, those are
That'd have been a-
underrated. Those are
that'd have
great
been
Underrated
cards.
by 100%. 100% underrated, 0% overrated.
I think the three of us need to talk to you after the show and encourage you to seek mental help about your infatuation with pup
This
cards.
is like I could see like at the expo me getting like 5,000 Upper Deck the pup cards.
Troy's brought 10 stacks only to buy pup cards to the expo.
Oh, fantastic!
All right. Well, thanks, Baba Louie.
See you, bye.
Good job.
See-
That was a lot of fun. Yeah, he's gone now. Here we go. With yelling in the background. It's a total gong show.
His computer, his
Moment.
keyboard was not working. Ran
But
out
we
of
go from
battery.
one exciting segment to another. It is time, boys, for
Time to find out what puts the poo on Phil's shoe.
all right, Phil. Troy, brace yourself. It's time for
Yeah,
the
I'm
much
ready. I'm ready.
highly anticipated and nerve-wracking for us Gongshow segment where Phil does,
yeah,
where I end up apologizing to people long into the night afterwards. But we love his passion. We love his energy. He can't stop. He won't stop. All right, Phil, what puts the poo in your shoe, buddy?
Louis, could we put up the no, the other one. Don't take that one off.
No, it's a gong show. I don't know what you're talking about. That's the only picture I got. That was
Oh, that's
told.
all you got, Troy?
Yeah.
Oh, that's okay. Oh, that's too bad. I only spent 3 hours on it. Okay, here we go. Let's okay.
What picture is it?
It's okay. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Just go ahead and put up the picture you already put
All right.
up, and that would be great. Okay, sorry, good listener. I apologize. Let me just get my little Word document here. Okay, so the poo on my shoe for this week. I want to talk about something that has been gnawing at me for a little bit of time and really surfaced its ugly head this week. It's also flying under the radar in the world of sports cards, a world where nostalgia meets investment, where passion collides with profit. I'm talking about the troubling and disgraceful state of accuracy in sports card grading companies, particularly when it comes to the authentication of autographs. As you can see on the screen, there are 4 examples. Let me cut straight to the point. The grading standards, especially by industry giants like PSA, are shockingly low. And I mean lower than the amount of hits Troy and Josh get on their Instagram pack breaks. This isn't just a minor hiccup, it's a full-blown crisis.
What?
These companies are supposed to be the gatekeepers of authenticity, the trusted authorities who separate the real from the fake. Time and time again, they're failing us. And the stakes, they're sky high. With hundreds of dollars, thousands of dollars, and millions of dollars on the line, it's a problem that should concern every collector, every investor, and everyone who cares about the integrity of the hobby. PSA, being the market leader, is often seen as the gold standard. But what if I told you the gold is looking more like fool's gold lately? The company employs graders who lack the necessary expertise to accurately verify autographs. These are people who are supposed to be the last line of defense against fraud, yet they're repeatedly approving blatantly fake autographs. Look on the screen. There are 4 examples. I am not an authenticator of autographs, but these are pretty blatant. Yeah. These examples clearly demonstrate that no era is safe. You can see on your screen, you have a Patrick Waugh. You can just go through them. You can zoom in on them.
Patrick Waugh is incredible because I'm not a huge fan of Patrick's signature. I just think it's like kind of choppy. It almost looks like some sort of like Japanese sort of like writing, but it is very distinctive. And you know a Patrick Waugh signature when you see it. The one on the left that you're showing was an impersonado that was graded by Waugh, or of the Waugh card is that is not even in the, somebody just literally scribbled on that card.
That is just one example. I beg. Well, I'll get into it. Oh no. I apologize. 1 second.
If you're listening, not watching video, Phil's got examples of like the left-hand side of the picture would be the card with the fake, basically, and then the card, or the one that's authenticated that we don't agree with.
Yeah.
And then the one on the right is like what an actual autograph of that player would be. And he's got Gretzky, Patrick Waugh, Connor Bedard, and then Brady Tkachuk.
Yeah. So no, like I was saying, no era is safe. We have vintage cards like Waugh, and we have Gretzky up there, and we also have modern stars like Tkachuk and Bedard. The real issue spans across the board. What's more concerning is that the labels on these PSA certified cards are from the modern era, meaning these errors are happening now in real time. You see the hologram in the middle. These aren't old PSA slabs. Think about that for a second. Really look at these pictures on the screen. You don't need to be a professional to know these aren't the real deal. And it gets worse, man. These graders operate under a veil of secrecy. Who are these graders? What are the qualifications? We have no idea, and we've normalized it. It's absolutely insane. When you submit a card for grading, you're putting your trust, your money, in the hands of someone who effectively is anonymous. It's like going to a doctor who doesn't have to prove their credentials. Why would you trust your health to someone like that? Of course you wouldn't. So why are we trusting our valuable sports memorabilia to people who we have no idea who they are and whose expertise is questionable at best? I'm sorry, just look on the screen. The financial stakes in the industry are enormous. The sports card market has exploded in recent years. Autographs play a massive part in that growth. A certified autograph can multiply the value of a card exponentially. Collectors and investors are willing to pay top dollar for a card that's been authenticated by a trusted company, like an industry leader, PSA. But what happens when the trust is misplaced? It seems like nothing happens. Imagine you just bought a card for hundreds of dollars or thousands, confident in your purchase because it comes with a PSA seal of approval. You display it proudly, only to later discover it's BS. What happens then? You're stuck looking at a crappy card that reminds you you're a bit of a dummy. I mean, you're not a dummy, but you made a dummy decision. All the information is available to you, and you still did it. Why? Because PSA, you trusted you had your faith in PSA, and you now know you've been swindled, not just by the seller, but by the very company that was supposed to protect you from this kind of fraud. And let's not forget the emotional toll. Collecting sports cards isn't just about money. I know this might be a foreign concept to you, Card Bro, but sometimes it's about passion, memories, and connecting to athletes and other people we admire. When you find out that your prized possession is a forgery, it's a punch to the gut. It's personal, it's painful. There's another side to this coin that we also can't ignore. While we've seen countless examples of grading companies approving fake autographs, there are still some stories out there of genuine autographs being rejected. Imagine the frustration of meeting your favorite athlete, getting their autograph in person, only to be denied by a grading company. There are countless examples. I implore you to find them. They're all over the place. You know it was real. You were there. You watched them sign it. Yet when you sent it in, it comes back as non-authentic. These mistakes aren't just about financial loss. They're about the erosion of trust. When a company can't even verify an autograph that you personally witnessed being signed, it raises serious questions about credibility. Now let's talk about the elephant in the room, corporate greed. Companies like PSA are raking in money hand over fist. They've become giants in the industry, and with that success should come some responsibility. But instead of raising their standards, they seem to be content to cut corners, to turn out grades as soon as possible, to cash in on the boom while it lasts. I don't care how you dress in an interview. I don't care what buzzwords you use in your advertising to connect with the hobby. You have kidnapped the integrity of a hobby that is bigger of you and me, and it's gross. When the mistakes are made, what do we get? A carefully crafted public statement. You know the type, soft-spoken, full of corporate jargon, and completely devoid of any real accountability. We're sorry for the inconvenience, they say, as if their errors are just a minor bump in the road. We're working on improving our processes, they promise, without ever addressing the root problem while smiling. Gross again. These nice guys with their polished statements are anything but. They present a facade of concern, all while ignoring the real issue, their failure to uphold the standards that collectors and investors rely on. It's all smoke and mirrors designed to calm the waters without making any meaningful change. And frankly, that's not good enough. We deserve better, all of us. Change won't happen unless us, the collectors, demand it. We need to start holding these companies accountable. Stop accepting subpar standards. If you're submitting a card for grading, ask questions. Demand some transparency. If you've been wronged, speak out. The power of us lies in the hands of the collectors, the people beside you, and the people who love this hobby and want to see it thrive. It's time we take some power back. It's time we stop letting companies like PSA dictate the terms of what is acceptable. They work for us, not the other way around, like the government. We should be the ones setting the standards, not the ones left to deal with the consequences of their mistakes. That was very important. The low bar of accuracy in sports card grading, especially concerning autographs, is a problem that I choose not to ignore. Most people do, but I will not. Sad part is, most people will also continue to ignore it, but guess who won't? Yours truly, Loud Phil. And that's the poo on my shoe.
All right. Well, a lot to think about there. I have questions, and I think there's things that we do need to address as part of this too. And just, I guess, clarification that I want on something. So you showed some examples. They do look very blatant, and a lot of your focus was on PSA. Do you consider any of the other grading companies good at auto authentication, or would you give any of them high marks, or do you think it's a systemic problem amongst all grading card companies?
I think so. SGC seems to have been given. Now, this is just my opinion and my feedback. It's obviously there's no science behind it or any math.
It's an opinion.
My opinion, they give back a lot of cards that they will not authenticate the autograph. They just don't know. Now, saying that, I think it's just an accepted gray area of all the grading companies, and they're just taking that money in because the time is good now. There will come a point. There will come a point where they won't be as loosey-goosey on their autograph certification. But right now, I think they're being very easygoing on it. You see how much they're grading, over 1 million cards a month. Yeah. You want to stop that money train? Come on, man. I have a business. I have a very, very small business. You learn quickly how you can manipulate certain things to make money. So when a good opportunity presents itself, like in-person autos, sending them in to get DNA certified, I don't think they're going to lose that opportunity. So I'm not picking on PSA. I'm sorry, all the examples are on there, but it's a 10-to-1 minimum ratio every month that they're grading. Sure. So you're the big dog, you're going to get hit hard.
Well, that's where I struggle with this personally, Phil, is because I believe that in capitalism, I believe, I'm slightly maybe libertarian sort of feelings on stuff like this, that consumers vote with their wallet. PSA has the right to create any business or any business practices they want. And there's no law that says I have to send my card to PSA. I'm not trying to absolve them of any responsibility, but at some point, if whatever their practices or processes or how they create the structure of their products, if it doesn't align with the values of the hobby, then the hobby should go someplace else, right?
But I feel like Listen, I struggle every day for the world that we're growing up in. It's changing so fast, and it's Troy's favorite word. It's bonkers. Everything's so bonkers. I find a lot of things going on in our hobby are reflective of like just how fast the world is changing. Look at these 4 examples on the screen, man. This is BS. This is absolute BS. These are not the autographs of these people. They're just not.
Well, your examples and your passion and this topic that you brought up has, and I'm going to get your input in a second here, Troy, but I made up this was like very transformative for me today, because in seeing these, I think, and as I was listening to you, I decided that I don't think I'll ever buy an in-person auto that like I'm not against in-person autos and I'm not against getting graded, but I would want one like the Peter Stastny that I am there and I witness and I see it and expect nobody to trust that it was a real auto, even though I know because I was there that it is an auto. But I wouldn't trust any card that has an in-person auto, whether it's graded or and I'm not just saying by PSA, by any company, because if I'm going to buy an auto, it's going to be a pack pulled auto that has a certificate of guarantee from the manufacturer on it. And so, because these examples, I'm not an autograph authenticator, but yeah, they're horrendous.
I have over 100 to pick from. I just picked some. I mean, I picked some pretty blatant ones for the show, but I've always known this. Everybody knows this. If you've been collecting cards for many years, you kind of just, it's one of those things. You're like, yeah, it's always kind of been like that. Like, enough. I don't want to. I love our hobby. The more I'm getting involved, the more this show is doing great. We're having so much fun with each other. I can't be quiet about that. I just can't. I'm sorry. Like, it's ridiculous.
One more comment before I turn it over to Troy. And I don't even know if I blame PSA for this, because you're right. They are the 800-pound gorilla in the hobby. But we look every month at those grading reports, and it's like about 1.25 million cards a month that it typically ends up being. And if you take a minute and think about that, you own a business. How would you grade 1.25 million cards in 30 days? How many people would you need? A lot, right? I mean, just do the math. Break it down by a minute. And so how many thousands of expert graders would there have to be in order to accomplish that? And I think, logic tells you that would break down really fast. And so I think going forward, whether it's Tag or somebody else, that in order to satisfy the demand in this hobby for graded cards, we're going to have to remove the human element from it. There's going to be no other, like let's say PSA had 3 million cards a month to grade. How many would you need? 40,000 graders? How are you going to train, or are they spending 4 seconds on a card? The math does not work, or it makes it tough, right? At that level. And so, I think that we're headed in the not too distant future to some sort of system where it's going to be computers and not people. All right, Troy, you've been sitting there patiently listening, observing. What are your thoughts?
Here's my thoughts. I always look back at that FBI study. Now, I don't know if it included autographs. 50 to 90% of memorabilia in sports industry is fake. That's what the stat is. So just remember that. You probably own stuff that is fake and you don't even know it. So that kind of lumped this in there. Now, here's my thing. So it's right. These are egregious examples, right? Egregious examples. They don't look anything like it. And boy, it's almost like when stuff like this, it's like, I want to see a report that shows me why they authenticated this. Now, that will never happen, but these are so egregious. But at times too, it's like, well, none of these or let's say the Bedard. What if someone ran up to him after a game? He's walking out of the rink, they shove it in his face. He's got a pen. He's just like blatantly does it. But I don't know how you can authenticate that. I can't tell you it's a fake 100%, but I can show you about 98% sure it's a fake. So there's that stuff. That's where I think I need a better explanation on some of these, on why they're authenticated the way they were, or what the decision was made. that would be one of my things. I think I would love to know who all these experts are. Like Phil said, when you watch shows on TV like Pawn Stars, right? It's hokey, it's fake. They make it all up. They get the people to come in, but they bring those experts on that are pretty legit experts. And I've watched where they explain autos. They like look at the pen stroke, and they can tell, these experts can tell by the pen strokes how much pressure they go into like so much detail on how they authenticate autos. This don't look like it. So maybe they do.
Well,
they just don't
that
tell
guy
them.
that I think that you're referencing was a PSA employee.
Yeah. But so
on that
they
show
might have
on
guys
Pawn
like
Stars.
that, but again, the numbers don't add up when you got millions of stuff and all that. So I and then the whole in-person auto, yeah, that would, and the denial of people that get in-person autos. That's where, do these offer any kind of authentication on site? Like you go to the expo, you get Peter Statsny's auto. Could you then get a certificate, or is it just sign?
I'm not
next,
sure.
Sign next. But again, so Phil, I'm with you. Like it's ridiculous. I will never buy an authenticated auto. I have zero interest. I don't trust it. I'm going to odds that say it's probably fake.
And I think that's why it hasn't, like, most people listening are like, well, yeah, dude, it's kind of like, I just stay away from that stuff. I'm not getting away from it anymore. I'm going to call it out. It's silly. It's like I said, I own a business, and I can frame, when I'm trying to sell, when I'm at a house doing an estimate for yard services, I can frame my conversation. If I have fertilizer that's going to expire in a month, I can make the conversation to make my customer think she might need some fertilizer for the sale. And then if someone steps in and starts telling me, Phil, you shouldn't be doing that, and then I say, okay, starting from here, I'll do better with my ethics. That's the point I'm trying to make. PSA tomorrow could watch this podcast on Tuesday and say, you know what? Good point, young man. Good point, middle-aged man. We're gonna fix everything, and we're gonna make our processes better, and we're gonna be good to go. They know what they've been doing up until this point, and as a 43-year-old man, it bothers me. It pisses me off.
Well, they have no guarantee either, right? I mean, even though they authenticated, it's their opinion. If you came back and told them, haha, I faked, I got you, there's no recourse.
Yeah, correct. It's all in the same pile of poo.
Yeah.
Poo on my shoe, right? I have big shoes on with big pile of poo. It's not becoming. It's I know what you're doing. It's an opportunity. I would take it too, but it's so far gone, right? Just grade everything. Boom, 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 boom. Silly.
Well, Phil, fantastic topic. You did a lot of work. You put a lot of thought into that, and we appreciate that. And I think it gives everyone a lot to think about. And we want to hear from you guys. If you have opinions on this, if you agree with Phil, if you disagree with Phil, if you are happy his mustache is back, let us know. Message us on the social media, on YouTube. I want to hear from you. Okay, we're going to jump really quickly. We have a short new product release update. We got an hockey calendar release update from Upper Deck. So just to keep everyone in the loop as far as what's coming. The next scheduled hockey release is 2024-25 MVP. Comes out August 28th, in just a couple days from now. It's a big one. Phil's very excited. You've probably ordered 50 cases, I'm sure. That'll be followed by 2023-24 Ice, which is scheduled for September 5th. Have you seen the Bedsy Exquisite on the gallery? I should have put that up, but we haven't done our...
Oh, it's a beautiful card.
Now, the checklist, we have the checklist, and I just didn't want to do it today because of time, number one, and it's still, I think, too far away, so we'll probably do that next Monday show. We'll review it, and we'll look at that Bedsy then. Then there's a Canada-only release. Boy, Upper Deck loves Canadians. 2023-24 SP Game Used CHL on 9/11 will only be available in Canada. Phil, you gonna go deep on that? If you had to spend money on a set, would you rather buy MVP or SP Game Used CHL?
I'd probably go Game Used CHL. Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, I would. Yeah.
After CHL on September 28th, the granddaddy of them all, 2022-23, the Cup comes out. September 18th. I meant. Did I say 20th? September 18th. So that'll be a big one. Now what's controversial about this is no premiere before that.
Yep.
That's kind of strange, huh? I wonder if there's like a printing issue or something like that. So, yeah. Then the next week on September 25th, 2023-24 OBG Platinum, Connor Bedard Seismic Golds will be hitting eBay. I'm sure shortly after that. If I had to guess, if one of these is going to get pushed, it's going to be that one, that they're going to give the cup maybe a little bit more room to breathe. Because it does seem crazy to have two major releases like that in back-to-back weeks.
No one's in the cup,
Okay.
but like I'm excited for Jake Sanderson. You're excited for what? Brock Faber, and that's about it. Who else is in there?
Well, the cup,
Yeah.
Faber's in 2023, so it would be Wyatt Johnston would probably be the biggest name.
Oh,
in 2022
one up. Yeah,
and Slavkovsky, he had a decent.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. That'll be a big one.
Well, that's the quick hockey release update from Upper Deck. Like I said, on next Monday's show, we'll break down the designs and checklist from 2023-24 ice. Got to make a quick mention for Gongshow partner and sponsor Fanatics Collect. God dang. Like a mental problem.
You'll get it, buddy. You'll get it.
Someday. We all have dreams, guys. We all have dreams. Fanatics Collect, who we love, is a Gongshow partner and sponsor. We are very grateful for their support. Fanatics has been releasing more and more info on their Holy Grails live auction that is slated for September 24th. This is really cool. It's in conjunction with Sotheby's and will take place live in New York. The idea is that all the cards auction are going to be the tippy top of all cards in the entire hobby, the most expensive grails. Funny, Troy, I didn't see a Kaprizov Young Guns PSA 10 on that list.
What's the opposite of grail? Like a poo? These are the top poo cards.
Hundo P. Remember the Hundo P?
Hundo P.
And one of your favorites. Right now, there's 3 basketball cards, a football card, and a baseball card in the auction. Kind of sweet if like one of the Gretzky rookie PSA 10s snuck into that. I keep checking back. That would be pretty cool. But again, regardless of, this is just another example of Fanatics kind of pushing the hobby forward, and I think exposing it to new light. And they're, by getting Sotheby's involved, it's really what's the word I'm looking for? It kind of puts these cards kind of on par with famous paintings and other. I mean, they go for millions of dollars, some of these cards, so it should be right. And I'm really interested to see how that all shakes out and what the response is there. Also, we've been talking a lot about the buy now marketplace on Fanatics Collect, how they've been working to reimagine the experience for buyers and sellers. They've simplified selling fees. They've eliminated cards that were listed way over comps to make it a better experience for buyers. And the marketplace is growing. There's more than 4,500 cards you can check out at fanaticscollect.com. Finally, the current Fanatics Collect weekly auction is live as well. Troy, Baba Louie, and I will each pick out our favorite vintage and modern cards in this week's auction to highlight on Thursday. All right, mailbag time. Some more good questions. We ready? We excited?
Let's do it.
Phil, you excited?
Do it.
Yeah.
All right, from Discord, Mad Dog Nav 78. What are the criteria for a player to be hobby relevant? Is it number of cards in a set, volume of sales? This is a fantastic question. I think almost impossible to answer with any. It's like, I think, a combo of number of cards sold and values. And then the more and more I thought of this, I was trying to describe it. And the best I think I can put it is you just know when a player has that it factor in the hobby. Is there any better way, Troy, that you could?
Did you read my ad? I did.
No.
I said, in the words of United States Supreme Court Justice Potter Stewart, I shall not today attempt further to define the kinds of material I understand to be embraced within that shorthand description, hardcore pajorn, and perhaps I could never succeed at intelligibly doing so, but I know it when I see it. There it is. That's a famous case where the I know it when I seen it was kind of made huge.
I know that reference too. Yeah.
And it's talking about a subject we don't talk about on the show, so I used our fake word for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what the case ruling was about. But it came to the I know it when I see it. And that's kind of it. I mean, yes, it's sets, it's how many cards are in, it's sales. Doesn't even matter if it's high sales. I mean, if you sell a bunch of $5 cards, but you're a million sales, I mean, you're hobby relevant then. It's just one of those things. You kind of know it when you see it.
Louis says popularity contest. Phil, do you have like sort of like a
hype?
How would
Hype
you define?
can be in there too. Hype.
That's a tie. I would lean with Louis. It is a bit of a popularity contest. Yeah.
Discord Sprad. Someone told me cards from Canada can't ship to the States in top loaders anymore because of the plastic. Will they either charge an insane price for customs or keep the package sometimes? Or they will either charge an insane price for customs or keep the package. I personally have had some packages from there not make it to me. Could this be the reason? Should we be hesitant to buy from Canada if we're in the United States? Have you heard this, Phil, where you can't
No.
ship top loader? I'm assuming they're trying to do PWE. What I've always done in PWE, because I've had cards returned to top loaders too.
What's PWE?
Is plain white envelope.
Plain white envelope. Oh, okay.
Is I use a card saver and then I cut up cereal boxes and tape it to that, and it's semi-rigid, but it makes it through. A lot of times when plain white envelopes get rejected, it's because they get fed through machines, and if they're too thick, they get caught in the machine, and they have to be able to make it through those.
I always just bought a birthday card and just put the card in because their birthday cards are a bit thicker, right?
Oh, there you go. Happy birthday. Here's your card.
Yeah.
Phil, Troy, do you got any comments on this one?
Yeah, I've read stories about this. Shipping from Canada is insane, it sounds like. So I don't know the exact reason because we're not Canadian, but like we're talking about the plain white envelope. I use a top loader. I've never had a card come back. Never. And I've over 300 sales, 400 sales. I've never had a card rejected for the top loader in a plain white envelope. So I don't have a good example for that, but yeah, I'm not sure what's going on in Canada. We have to start an investigation or something because it seems like their mail service is getting a little wonky on us.
Yeah, way to go, Phil.
Lots of problems. It's a slow bleed up here, boys. It's a slow bleed.
From fan mail, Hanif. As a junk, insert, and parallel era is upon us, which today's hockey card product sets will stand the test of time? And will we be talking about 25 years from now on the show? Hanif is from Vancouver. He says, hello. So, Troy, 25 years from now, which products of today are you most confident will stand the test of time?
SP Signature Edition Legends. That's my answer for everything. I think that will for sure stand the test of time, especially if that was it. If it was a one-time set, because that's what they've said. It's kind of a one-off. So stats that come out today. I mean, obviously the cup will always kind of be a gold standard. I think it will always be talked about. I want to put stature in there, but man,
you can't put that
if they keep watering it. Yeah, it's 25 years from now.
But you don't know. You can't pick something new now.
That's the point of the question. We're speculating. Like it could be stature, it could be something else. Like that's my opinion. I think it might be stature. I don't know, but I was gonna say I'm worried with stature because it's too many like variations, parallels, image, design. So I don't know if it will, but I would like it to.
So,
Phil, what products do you think will stand the test of time 25 years from now?
Well, I just want to correct myself. Yes, Troy, you can pick stature. You're absolutely correct. It was just a really bad choice because it's a newer series.
That's
so you
the
don't
point
know,
of the question.
If you don't know if it has the legs to last the test of time. So I'm gonna pick the cup and flagship.
Okay. Troy, now do you understand what it's like when I get a new card in personal pickups that I love and Phil takes a giant dump on it? Phil, you're Well, I'm gonna agree with Troy. I think stature. Troy needs some love. So I would say the cup is probably my candidate there. Now, next one's a Troy question. So Troy is getting from Bobby, 86 collects in Discord. He says, for Troy, if you could only choose one, A, Upper Deck blends their logo on every card, or B, every online site, including ComC, doesn't show their watermark logo on pictures of cards anymore. Which would you choose?
I'm going with the blended in logo because that's actually part of the card, and that's like out of the pack into the person's hand. The ComC stuff, they're just a mess. The logo stinks, but at the end of the day, it's a third party. So I would rather have the actual design of the card get blended in the logo.
You know what ComC I don't think understands is showing poor pictures of cards can only cost you money. So they make money, they make commission, right? Percentage of sales. It costs collectors money when they're selling their cards, and it lowers their commission. A no-brainer would be because they make power scanners that can take really good pictures of cards like real fast. I can't believe that they haven't invested in that yet, but it's up to them.
Well, they charge. You can do high end res. They
Yeah,
just
you
charge
can.
for it.
They
They
charge
charge
more.
for it.
Yeah.
But they're costing themselves. Why wouldn't they do high res,
Agreed.
knowing that cards would sell more and they get more commission? So, Discord or Jibway86, I'd like to know, what are some of your favorite Beckett Hockey Monthly covers? So I got to be honest with Jibway. I haven't used our own Beckett Monthly since I was probably a teenager, and I don't remember any of them. So I'm a bad person to ask this one. Troy did a bunch of amazing work, but before Phil, are you a Beckett Monthly guy? Do you have any like covers that stick out to you that you remember?
Yeah, there was a Bure. I can't remember if it was a Hockey News cover or a Beckett cover where Bure and McGillney were holding. They were locked in hands.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so no, I guess I don't.
All right, Troy. Now we'll turn it over to you. You did some awesome research here.
Was it here? Is this the one Phil was talking about? I just looked this up quick. Is this the one?
Oh, there it is. Yes. But I guess they're not locked in hands. I have memories. Yeah, good, Troy. Thank you, man. That's great.
There's that one. And then I'm like Josh. I remember them, but man, I couldn't tell you any of the covers. So I just started looking for covers to see if I could find some fun ones. And so this is Paul Correa in front of Disneyland. I think this is fantastic. May 1995. Wow. And then we have this Gretzky one that I thought was pretty cool.
That's awesome.
November 92. And then this Patrick Waugh from May of 94. Thought it was pretty cool. Close up.
Hey, hold on, Troy. That looks like the card in there looks like a Provisions insert from.
It does, but
it's more a Pinnacle.
I don't know what it is. I don't know what that. Yeah, it looks like Pinnacle. And then last one I think I have is this one, Shorzy. I don't even know if this is fake or was this real. Anyone know? September 2022.
That's pretty awesome.
But it looks cool if it's real.
That's pretty awesome. Okay. Next question. Axel Foley from Instagram. Explain the difference between OPC Platinum Preview and OPC Platinum as far as seismic golds go. When did Preview start? Is there a regular seismic golds out of 50 in the same year as a Preview release out of 25? Thanks. So Axel Foley, Platinum Preview is an insert in OPC paper sets. I think they added to add more hits to OPC paper or a chase card for that product. Now, as far as lineage and when all this started, there's a few 2019 OPC Platinum previews I found. They're not on the checklist for OPC though, and they're all rainbow. So I don't know how those came about. But in 2020, 21 OPC was the first year that Platinum Preview appears on the OPC checklist, and that's where we see the first seismic golds out of 25. And now the cadence is that you have seismic gold Platinum previews out of 25, then you have regular seismic golds and OPC Platinum out of 50. Even though they are out of 25 and as a preview card in OPC, they typically have much less value than the regular seismic golds in OPC Platinum.
Sure.
Yeah, that was a really good answer, Josh.
I'm all for it.
Discord, Sebastian Engelhardt. Always ask great questions. In recent years, several large companies like Fanatics and Pokemon have purchased their own printing factories to improve quality and release dates. Do you think Upper Deck would ever do this? Troy, you had an answer?
I think they should, but I'm guessing the cost and knowledge to run a facility like that is pretty high. We know Upper Deck's a private company. They are actually fairly small from a headcount perspective, and I'm not sure they would be able to do this efficiently. I don't know in the past if they have, but we know that Fanatics is actually one of their plays has been, like you said, to buy up these printing facilities. Which, guess what? It forces companies to go find printing facilities in Italy to make their hockey cards.
Mm-hmm.
So.
I used to work at a company that produced, it was like a magazines, sold a lot of our products, so hundreds of thousands of magazines every month. And we would work closely with big printing facilities to do that. So I'm not an expert by any stretch, but I know a little bit about it. And these facilities, the printers are crazy expensive. You have to have press operators that make that. There's not that many. It's like kind of a dying profession. Yeah. And in order for them to make money, you have to run those presses 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, basically. And so I don't even know if Upper Deck would have the volume to be profitable owning a facility. But I think you're right, Troy, in your point that by Fanatics and maybe Pokemon buying up a lot of facilities in the US, and the fact that there's not a lot of new print shops opening that could do the scale and probably the different type of printing Upper Deck needs, that's kind of forced them to look overseas. Anything to add, Phil?
Nah, nothing.
Okay, Instagram, Kevin B. Smith. With CT scanning becoming a worry in the hobby, it's hopefully safe to assume any Upper Deck certified diamond dealers won't partake in scanning of boxes, or they won't be CDDs anymore. What about like Wax Club or Hitbox or other businesses like those? Can they still be trusted to send out good packs in their already expensive boxes? Cheers. This is the part of this whole CT scanning thing that really saddens me, because I don't know. I've talked to the Hitbox guy once, and he seems like a very genuine, really ethical person, but I don't really know any of them. And we've talked a lot about how like the CT scanning issue can hurt collectors, that but by people using that to manipulate who gets what boxes. This could also hurt like very good ethical companies that now get lumped in to this stuff too. So I don't know the answer to this. I don't, and my fear is that both collectors and companies that are good and have good businesses and work really hard to deliver good products could be, lumped in with all this stuff too. But I guess how I don't know if you can.
Yeah.
What do you think, Phil?
You
Troy?
I was just saying, you're gonna have to trust who you trust. Maybe you're gonna have to ask them, email, call them, or companies are gonna have to start coming out with statements. I guess if it becomes that big of a deal, and say we do not scan boxes, blah blah blah, or Upper Deck writes this into their Simon certified diamond dealer agreement that you can't scan boxes and all that. So it's kind of a mess.
How do you trust do you know what these companies are, Phil? They're like, you get like a Hitbox and they have packs from like 10 different products.
Yeah,
in
Hit
there.
Parade. The Hit Parade, there's a guy that sells a bunch of them up here at the Ottawa show. I think I bought one of those boxes once, but I like repacks. I like breakers. I like repacks. I think that it's good to get rid of a lot of liquidity in the market. I think if it's done well, it's good for everybody. I really believe that this will get sorted sooner than later.
Yeah,
I just do. It has to. It has to.
I've asked a lot of people too, and privately, that I trust, and it seems like that it's kind of 50-50, where some people think this is a really big deal and other people think it's being overblown.
I think it is a really big deal. I do not think it's overblown, and I do think it will. I think the industry leaders will take care of it. I firmly believe that.
Okay, Rico Cards from Instagram. In the wake of the Line A trade, it's obvious that some markets heavily influence values more than others, but I still have a hard time with the throw comps out the window, he's a hab attitude. I get it's a supply and demand market, but it's a shame to see prices double overnight. What are your thoughts on this, Troy?
Well, this is a guy like where I think he answered his own question. Market will always dictate pricing. 100% correct. It's supply and demand, and he went to a team that has a huge fan base, a lot of collectors, and they went nuts for it, and they're paying for it, and that's how it is. And it's one of those things that it probably won't change. Market dictates it.
Is it a shame though? I was thinking about that word in the question.
I don't think it's a shame. I mean, well, yeah, I don't. Shame is a very, very loaded word. It's sad if you're a liney PC guy that now all your cards that you were getting for your PC just probably jumped up.
But let's be honest. Even if he scores 35 goals this year and is a win, it's gonna come back down, right?
Of course,
I mean,
of course. And it's only a shame if you sold his cards the day before you found out he got traded.
Good point. Facebook, Andrew Shee. Do you think the prices for 2024-25 wax will be back to pre-Bedard or non-Bedard tax levels? I like the Bedard tax thing. Troy, what do you think?
No, I think they'll still be up a little, or they won't. How do I say this? They're not going to revert back to 2 years ago. There's going to be the Bedard tax will still be there. It's not going to be as much, I don't think, because obviously his rookie cards aren't in there. But maybe another rookie goes nuts, but no, I don't. I don't think they're going back.
Yeah, prices don't go down in markets.
Yeah.
No.
I agree. Facebook, Mike Charles. How short are short prints really? The population counts were obviously wrong. So what does that say about other Easter eggs or SPs? Troy, you got an answer here too, but
I said we need an SP expert, and I think Phil, you're the closest thing because you actually did research on a card where you had to go to Facebook and try to find. Ready to get Chuck? You're trying to find.
Yeah, the acetate.
How many you could find, and
I stopped at 21 because I'm like, okay, well, there's over 20.
Yeah, but I wonder if there is someone that just has really good research that knows this stuff, but we just
Jeremy would probably know.
Yeah, I mean, Jeremy would be a great one.
There's asked Upper Deck though this, and I don't think there's a standard definition. SP just means that there's less printed than the base set.
Well, there's SSP, super short print.
Yeah,
and I don't think that there's a standard rule of thumb for that. I think Upper Deck makes choices on that, and they'll even do it, I think, differently year by year. So, like, let's say like a popular insert, SP might have more copies one year than to the next. I really don't think that there's a hard and fast rule that they hold themselves to in that regard.
Okay.
Facebook, Bob McKenzie. Hockey cards have gone from plain base sets to include inserts, holograms, autos, parallels, patches, sticks, sections, etc. What do you think the next evolution in cards will be, or what is something you would like to see? All right, Troy, you put some thought into this.
I went off the rails. Okay. I think there's some type of card that will be kind of a physical digital card. This has been done in the past. This is not new. There were cards, I think it was Upper Deck, that you open them and they played a little video. But I think there was a lot of issues. There was like battery issues. You can still find them on eBay. They might not work. But where we are at Tech, I know it's going to come. There's going to be some new take where they build a card that somehow we're getting to these systems on a chip where they can put like a little AI thing in there and you'll have an AI chip and you have a conversation with the player. It's going to be something really weird, and it might not be soon, but they're going to have stuff that's going to be, we can't even think of. And then I will pitch my live tonight idea where that card should have a redemption code and you get a picture or you get a poster, a concert poster of the card that has it on.
That would be cool.
I still think something with AI is going to come, and it's going to be weird and it's going to be creepy.
Hey, Timmy, who's your best friend? My Austin Matthews.
Or just, hey,
Dad.
how about this? You get the card and it's got like, you can add, like, show me all of your goals, and it shows all the goals he scored, or just some weird stuff like that.
Or a hologram for
but
Reggie
then
Jackson.
That
Reggie
goes
Jackson
back
to play catch with you, Troy.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that goes back. Then is it a card then? Is that a card?
Oh, Phil.
Is it a video? Is it a iPhone? I mean, what is it? Is it a video player?
I agree. What is it then? What is it? Who knows?
I think cards tied to experiences, like similar like what Fanatics has done with Fanatics Fest. If like there's a hockey version of that where you pull like a very specific card and it includes and it doesn't even have to have a redemption code to reach the card, but let's say it's an out of 5, like super mega blastoid refractor, then you get to have like a meet and greet with that player or something.
That'd be awesome.
That's like the old days. You got the insert that was, contest, write in or send it in, and you could go to the NHL All-Star game.
Well, then I'm buying. I'm buying all the Manon Rayom cards possible there.
Instagram, coffee and coffee, caffeine and cardboard.
Yeah, there you go.
Yes, 3 questions, all good ones. The first one is, do you consider buybacks to be rookie cards of that player? So let's say it's like the player's card was, the rookie year was in 2010, but then it's a 2019 buyback auto. Is that a rookie auto of that? I don't think it is. But it's
That's a tough one. I don't think so either.
I
want to say yes. I want to say yes, but it's not.
I'm with you, Phil. I want to say yes, but I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't think so. I know it when I see it, right?
Yeah.
Okay, next one. Top 3 or top 5 best value buys from the last 12 months auctions at Fanatics Collect. Ooh. So at first I'm like, well, how the heck am I going to answer this? But then I remembered, and this is kind of a little plug for Card Ladder, that they, as part of their search in sales history, you can search basically by auction company.
Oh,
so
cool.
I could look at all the sales from Fanatics Collect. And so you're lucky. Caffeine and Cardboard. So I found 3 that I think are really good deals. I'm gonna roll through them quick. You got the pictures right, Troy?
Yeah.
So the first one is a 2008 The Cup Mario Lemieux limited logos out of 50. It's a PSA 5 out of 10. So for 900 US in March. I remember this card from our auction show, and sure, it's a PSA 5. And the reason why I think it's a good value is because the card looks really nice. Jeremy Lee and I, we went over it very closely.
Like, that's the only thing right there that there's a little mark, and that's it.
And it's sold for $900 because of that PSA 5 grade. So I think that's a really good value. The second one that I picked is a 2015-16 OPG Platinum Connor McDavid Marquee Rookie Emerald Surge out of 10 raw. So for $13,200 US dollars back in I said March, but I think it was just like a month or two ago. Now, of course, 13,000 is a lot of money, but I think this is a card 5-10 years from now, if McDavid actualizes, that it's a very, very highly sought after rare card that you could do well on that. And then the last one is a 2008-09 OPG Premier Wayne Gretzky, Bobby Orr, Gordie Howe trios on card autos, BGS 9.5, 9 auto grade, sold for $5,280 on August 11th. This is another card Jeremy and I looked at. I think the auto grade 9 is because Wayne's his thing goes off the card a little bit. Troy, Phil, you could do another poo on the shoe on auto grades. It's ridiculous. And I think the buyer of this card got because that 9 that scares bidders away. And these autos are fantastic.
Yeah, that's insane.
Come on, that's a 9 because you touched the edge.
Plus his ore, the ore's a little flatter than normal. I know it's kind of flat, like if we're really nitpicking here. You know, that Gordie Howe is great.
Usually, it's not like shaky like kind of it was as he got older. And
on card, too, right?
Yeah. Oh, on card for $5,000, Gretzky, Bobby Orr, and Gordie Howe. So I think that, you know, if you're savvy and you can identify opportunities where you're like, oh man, that person got so unlucky with the grade to get that auto 9, because this would be it probably knocked $2,000 off this card, I would guess.
As Troy said earlier too, fine. You want to give it a 9 grade? Fine. You're the professional. I totally understand. Tell me why. Learn me. Explain me so I can explain to the next person.
No, they don't want you to know, so you submit more cards. You have no idea.
You're right, Troy. This is like when they kept the Bible from us for 1,000 years, right? You only could go to church because they're the only ones that had the book. Yeah, well, silly. Super silly.
All right, then the last question from Caffeine and Cardboard, another great one. He says, LeBron, Steph, KD, he's talking about the Topps Now autograph card. Should Upper Deck create like a McDavid, Matthews, Bedard type card? Well, we just looked at a triple auto card, so they already do that. But where I like this idea is when it comes to the Olympics in 2026, as NHL players return, I would love to see cards in Olympic jerseys that where players representing their countries and big names like LeBron, Steph, and KD. I think that would be really cool if Upper Deck did that. Troy, you pointed out something kind of obvious. So.
Well, when I read this question, I thought he was thinking Olympics, World. Maybe he wasn't Caffeine and Cardboard, so I apologize. But I was like sitting there, McDavid, Matthews, Bedard for an Olympic or World Cup of hockey card. Something's wrong, and then it clicked. Matthews is American. I don't think he was saying that, but that's what went in my mind. So it can't be these 3. They were going to do the Olympic card. I don't know who the U.S. would be. Matthews, Jack Hughes, Tkachuk, Matthew Tkachuk, maybe. And then I started thinking, I want a goalie card now of this for Team USA for the World Cup of Hockey or the Olympics, whatever they're doing next. And I was like, Ottinger, Hellebuck, Swayman, maybe Demko's in there. I don't know.
Oh, you guys have so many good goalies.
It's sad. No, they're in our Discord, Phil. It's crazy. We were talking about this, and you look at the Canadian goalies. Hockey Canada better figure something out because it's all American and Scandinavians and Russians. And someone pointed out, I think the Canadian goalie pool for starting this is like Aiden Hill and someone else. I can't remember who it's. Cigar Scott said who it was. I can't remember who it is, but yeah, it's
Wall. Joseph Wall.
Oh, he's young though, right?
Yeah, I know.
There was another one he had that was I could say okay, yeah, but yeah, Canadian goalies kind of are in a struggle right now.
Phil, the United States of America has the world's greatest goalie coach, Troy Iverson.
Yeah, I know. I
That's all
love.
you got to know.
Well,
I gotta know.
one thing our program seems to be working. The USA Hockey, like I don't know, maybe 5 to 10 years ago, put this 51 and 30 plan in place, where they want 51% of all professional hockey minutes played by USA goalies.
Woo.
So pretty ambitious, but I don't know if they'll get.
That's how you get things done, with discipline, with structure, with rules, accountability. That's how you, and a macro plan, you know? Yeah, maybe someone in our Canadian government's listening.
All right, Facebook, Caleb Smith. Hey
Whoa.
guys, big fan of the podcast. Was wondering if you guys could touch a bit on possible checklist snubs, Easter eggs. I feel this is a big concern as I've been keeping tabs on every Bedard rookie card that comes out, and it seems quite often the checklist will be inconsistent with the product released. The most recent example I can think of is from 2023-24 SPX. Connor Bedard finite rookies out of 99 is listed to be a green parallel, which it is. But there's also a blue parallel out of 199, which is not listed anywhere. I only found the blue parallel from an eBay listing and had me curious why two parallels are numbered the exact same and one is not even listed on the checklist. He said, sorry for the lengthy message. It's kind of weird topic, hard to explain. I figured you guys would be the ones to bring this up. It's a fantastic question. He's right. There is two Bedard finite out of 199s. One is green, one is blue. Only green is on the checklist. It's not just Bedard, it's other players. And here's what I tell you, Caleb, is it's a fantastic question. Great observation. I have no idea the answer. Sometimes things we found get left off the checklist, like Leo Carlson from Trilogy. Could have been an error at the printer or some other reason. And the more that, and Troy, I think we've definitely learned this, the closer you pay attention to these checklists, the more you find anomalies and abnormalities and errors.
And I don't know if they go back and correct them. It's like, no one's ever told me, if you find an error Upper Deck or whoever, hey, thank God it's not Panini. If you ever looked at a Panini checklist online, they're nowhere near, the numbers don't match the cards ever. They're a mess. But like if Upper Deck sees, like, gets notice that their checklist online is wrong, or that they sent out to Beckett, or maybe notify Beckett or Beckett, I guess that's the only big place now. And do they fix it? I don't know. But yeah, you're right. It's kind of nuts. And you went over, wasn't SPX the one you're like, okay, you have this parallel that's out of 25. You have this other parallel that's out of 25.
Well, they do a lot, like they do like gold out of 25 and then gold spectrum out of 25. And it's like, it gets confusing. But yeah, there's a lot of errors that have. And one thing too, when you get these checklist spreadsheets from Upper Deck, sometimes there's 6,000 different rows on them. So I'm not making excuses for Upper Deck, but I'm not shocked that errors happen either.
Can we quickly, I know it's a long question, let's compare this to another industry. Let's say you go to, do you guys have IKEA in the States?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's say you're shopping in IKEA with your family and you buy a bedroom set. Then you go home and you want to look up the bedroom set online, but it doesn't exist. Then you go back to IKEA. So the only place this bedroom set ever exists is actually in the store, but never online. When you call customer service, they don't know this bedroom set exists. That would never happen, right? No. Would that kind of be the same thing? Like, wouldn't IKEA update their website immediately and say, "Oh my God, that's embarrassing"?
Mm-hmm.
That's a good point.
Good point, Philly. Discord, California Dave. Has there been any research done on the optimal time to end eBay auctions? I know Slab Shark seems to always start in on Thursday evenings. Is weekday evenings better than weekends? Is there science behind the madness? When it comes to consigners, Dave, I think what a lot of the people like Slab Sharks, or there's some in the US, they kind of want their own day. I think the standard rule of thumb has been end your auction on a weekday, like a Saturday or Sunday night, and to kind of create their own sort of vibe that a lot of them do on the weekdays. I'm not sure it matters. Well, I guess what I would say, maybe I take that back. If I'm selling personally, I'm probably ended it on Saturday or Sunday night. That, to me, that's the safest. What do you guys think?
I like Thursdays.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel like people are the body is amping up for the weekend. You're like, ooh, I'm kind of excited.
Right before payday on Friday.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah.
Troy, do you have an opinion?
I've always heard Sunday. I actually went and tried to find a study. I hope someone out there knows of one, because I would love to see it, because everything you find is just people like PSA putting opinions out there, and who knows if they're scientifically accurate.
Louis likes to end his on Christmas, he says. So
right.
There you go, Louis.
I like to end my rare cards at 2 a.m. on July 4th.
Okay, very important question next. Instagram, Doghouse Hockey. After several hobby deep dive segments into sets, there's a growing conspiracy that votes are being rigged. Phil's blast from the past continues to lose. Can you please tamper the growing rumors that of a rigged election? Maybe by telling Phil there's no value in blast from the past, and that he should immediately sell off his devalued OPG Chrome hobby boxes. He says, I know a buyer if needed. As always, love the show. I'm so glad you brought this up, Dog House. And I'd like to take this opportunity. I want to officially and formally call for a joint investigation by both the U.S. House of Representatives and the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. You know, the guys with the cool hats. We got to get to the bottom of this.
The horsies.
I think my favorite part of Canada is the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, and I love.
Ooh,
what is it?
Yeah, swing and a miss, Joshy Poo. That's always in controversy up here.
RCMP, right? That's what you guys
all
call
the
them?
time. Yeah. I love them, but
are they all on horses?
No, they are all on. They are definitely not all on horses. Most of them are not.
I'm a huge fan of the hats. Yeah, well, we'll see. Maybe someday Phil's dream will come true. Instagram, BLN cards. You're all about first having more value. Well, that's Troy, not me. I never talk about that. Does the first card with the Matthew C for captain matter? I'm going to answer maybe for a Leafs fan, but for general, no. What do you guys think?
A Leafs fan or PC Matthews guy. That's
no
it.
One no one cares.
That's who cares. Those people.
You're funny, Bill. Instagram, Cards AH. Do you think there's a hobby preference between the 4 different colored printing plates available? So that's CYMK. I would think that the yellow would be the least desired.
Yeah.
But in general, when I look at printing plates, I think the one with the highest desirability has the clearest, most imprint on it, right? Because a lot of them, like I have basically an invisible one.
Yeah, that one's sweet.
You guys agree or disagree with that?
There's magenta.
Yeah, I've never been a printing plate guy, but yes, agree. If you can see it, obviously the better.
They used to be huge, boys. I'm telling you, like 10, 15 years ago, draft boards and printing plates were what everyone wanted. I got a huge printing plate. Whoa.
Well, it'd be really cool. Like back in the old days when there's like one card of each player, you got the one printing plate, but now there's something that's just like.
Like how much would the 89 Upper Deck Griffey printing plate go for? Probably a big dough, huh?
Big bucks there.
Last question. Instagram. Show friend, it's freaking Polly. He says, looking back on your collecting journey, either from back in the day or after your comeback to the hobby, what is the one player, set, or insert that you hate to admit you loved or PC'd? Mine is that in the 90s, I was a big collector of goalie cards. However, one of my favorite PCs was Curtis Joseph Cujo. I secretly PC him, though, because I'm a diehard Hawks fan. So I'll start here. Back in the day, like when I first got into sports cards as a kid, and I have no clue why. I couldn't explain to you. I don't think I'm not sure I saw him play much because it was when you couldn't see games, any game you wanted to, like with the internet. I was the biggest Will Clarke fan for some weird reason. He was the first baseman for the San Francisco Giants. I had like 4 binders full of Will Clarke cards. And they're probably all different base cards. So yeah, I'm a genius. And then my biggest hockey chase was 1990 Pro Set. Because again, shows how smart I am. What about you, Phil?
I was an Expos guy. Expos in the 80s. Loved my baseball cards. Big fan of the Atlanta Braves pitchers too. Maddox, Glavine. I love them. And hockey. Yeah, just everything, man. 90s Pro Set, 91 Score, 92 Parkhurst. I loved it all. I loved all the sets of all of them.
Troy?
I'm trying to think. For the player, I mean, it's not like I look back and I'm embarrassed, but Dale Murphy. I collected tons of Dale Murphy cards as a kid. He was played for the Braves. I don't know why, probably, but I did. I got like his rookie cards, and I'm just like, okay. And then for hockey, it was like right when Upper Deck came out, because I always remember this. Back in where I grew up in the town, it was a city. It's a suburb, southern suburb of Minneapolis, and we had neighborhoods that were basically built after World War II. So there's straight grids, these little starter homes and everything. We lived there, and there was a corner shop, or not a corner shop, but a shop in the middle of these houses, like the drugstore, the corner drugstore. And I always remember when they first got Upper Deck, because I walked in there, I saw these packs. They were right at the front. I talked to the guy, and he's like, yeah, they just got in. They were really nice. They were thick. They felt good. I think it was $1 a pack, which was a lot of money back then.
Wow.
I just would save up all my money, go down there, give them all my money, get as many packs as I could, and take them away.
There you go.
That's
My
awesome.
grubby
That's what it's
lions.
about right there. Yeah, that's it. So when we're walking the show floor at a sports card show, there's the same feelings are there, you know? Yeah, it's good.
Baba Louie, who
Yep.
did you collect back in the day?
Okay.
That was another Baba Louie Hobby hot take.
I had to do it once. Okay.
So good.
Okay.
Louis might
You know
be
I
the-
love you.
I've
like,
got a
he
bunch
might
of
have the
stuff
most
going
Kirby
on.
pockets ever.
No, trust me, I don't.
How many Kirby pockets do you have?
I don't know, dude. Seriously, I have no clue.
Hundreds,
600 different ones. I don't know how many total with doubles.
Oh man, okay.
All right. Well, that was Mailbag. Again, thanks for everyone for submitting their questions. Time to move on to personal pickups. And looking at our show notes, it looks like we're a huge bunch of hobby losers this week. Does anyone have anything?
Yeah, I sent. Did you guys not get my stuff? I sent the picture.
Oh,
That's okay. That's
what did you
okay.
get? Do you have it in
Well,
hand?
I can show it right now. I'll
Yeah, just
show it
show
right
it.
now. There we go. So this is from my buddy Danny. I was on his podcast last week. He sent me a really nice Ice Gems protege. Get out of the. Here we go. Bam.
Nice.
So he's really
Big cat.
happy. Yeah. Thank you, Danny. Check out his DM Sports on YouTube. He's awesome. Every Friday he goes on live and he has a great guest. Very structured, great guy. DM Hockey on YouTube.
Mhm.
Very nice. So that was my pickup this week. I did not purchase anything.
I was actually proud of myself, and I told Louis this the other night. I didn't have a personal pickup. I'm like, I should maybe get something for the show. And I'm like, I think I have like $50 in my ComC account. And I went and I looked for like a half hour and I just couldn't find anything. And there's times in my life where I would have just been like, well, I got to get something. But I stuck to my guns. I'm like, there's nothing here that's speaking to me. So
Wisdom, Josh. Wisdom.
I'm going to punt on that one. Yeah. So very uneventful there. Well, we did it, boys. If you like the episode, please leave a rating and review on Apple, Spotify, whatever podcast app you listen to us on. If you love the show, you want to support us, you want to chat with us on the Hockey Cards Gongshow Discord server, please consider a $5 a month donation. Join our $1.99 support level tier on Patreon. Link is in the show description within our Instagram and TikTok profile. It's on our website, hockeycardsgongshow.com. Click on the Become a Patron link at the top of the page or on Patreon's website directly, patreon.com. And then all you got to do is search for our show, Hockey Cards Gongshow. Boys, we're on social media. Yeah, believe it or not. We're on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, and YouTube. And the Hockey Cards Gongshow podcast is a production of Dollar Box Ventures, LLC. If you're a Gongshow supporter, head to Discord right now or watch out for the email notification through Patreon because the Hockey Cards Gongshow Discord after party starts right now.